Blue Beetle is officially the first hero in the new DCU. It's not the first DCU movie. Which I understand can be somewhat confusing, but it's not that confusing. Like, James Gunn didn't help make this movie, so like I liked it enough to keep the character to come over, but obviously it's not something him and Peter actually worked on together as the new regime, so it doesn't really count as the new first DCU project. That's all that means. I don't know why it's so hard for some of you guys to understand on the Twitter. But come on, Barbie.
Let's go, Barbie.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 38 of Tardy to the Party, a.k.a. T3P, the weekly podcast centered around news and reviews of that holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy, J-Sib, and to my left, as always,
I'm KP.
and to my right, as always,
The Bull.
Oh, fellas. It's been a wild couple weeks for us. We are sorry that we have not been uploading as frequently.
That's our bad.
Usually we're always tardy to the uploads, but I mean, this has been
even
by our standards.
It's not tardy anymore.
Yeah,
it's just
like
This,
I think by my
that's
count,
a no call, no show.
Yeah. I think by my count, like you probably haven't seen an episode from us for 2 weeks, but we haven't even met or recorded in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because our last episode we had recorded well in advance, but yeah.
Summertime. Dad duties.
Well,
duties.
You have parental duties.
Right.
He and I are just, going to baseball games and stuff.
Hey, that's still
happens.
That's still serious business. All right.
It was my first ever MLB game.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Mark Anthony, who makes Mike's Hard Lemonade and White Claw, Cayman Jack, MXD. Those who don't know, I work for like
That's your job,
a beer and liquor, mainly beer and malt beverages sales company. I do graphics and whatnot. Mark Anthony paid for some of us to come out, and they gave us this really sweet seats. So it was a White Sox game, so they were the guaranteed rate club seats. So
nice.
We were sitting directly underneath the normal suites. So we were in the shade the whole time. There's probably, I'd say, like 8 to 10 rows. And then they're probably, like, I'd say 6 to 8 sections wide. But then behind you, you have a suite that you can go into. And there's open bar, buffet. The food was great.
Yeah.
Their pesto pasta, phenomenal.
Dude, yeah. Honestly,
White Sox food is great.
It's the way to
awesome.
do it. It's the way to do it when you go to games. I mean, the thing is when it's not paid for, it can be pricey. I don't know if White Sox is expensive.
So I looked into it.
Cardinals is expensive.
It's about the same.
That's where I was. And my seat was like lowest section. Not exactly foul ball territory. I think we had the net a little in front of us. So like we would have never, unless it went over the net, it was never going to come to us. I was in the shade for a little bit, but then like the way the sun kind of, as it moves through the day, then I kind of got in the sun. Top of my knees, got some nice burns on them just for like a day. Cause
don't bring me back.
Well,
those
well, I mean,
some terrible
I'm a basic bro that sits out on a lawn chair in his backyard each day and tans.
Hey,
so, it was whatever for me for one day.
Trying to not even need those vitamin D supplements.
I was like, take the vitamin D, but actively gets the vitamin D.
Man.
Double down on
it. Be careful.
I need the energy, dude.
Double down.
You say double down on the D, but that's not right.
That
ain't right.
That sounds wrong. That ain't right.
That ain't right.
It's a PG shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah.
It's not a PG.
So, all right. See, you had everything paid for, so you guys probably didn't even. Did you ever go to like purchase anything?
So no, we did not, because I'm not a baseball fan in general. Like normally, I like going to baseball games, but so I don't really have like
a team.
Plus, they were actually handing out shirts that day. It was Margarita Day.
Sweet.
So
I got a pool house jersey. It was a pool house jersey day.
Nice.
So that's why I had to I had the start driving down there at like 9 a.m. So I was trying to get there early to make sure I got one.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they had these like little button-up, almost like beach shirts that were. They had like White Sox logos and stuff on there, and little like Easter eggs, I would imagine. But it looked very festive, and a lot of people were wearing them in the stadium.
No, I just ask because Busch Stadium is cashless now, and I literally just got done dealing with that at the music festival that like our buddies and I went to. That thing was also cashless the whole time.
Interesting.
Wow.
So it's like dangerous, obviously, because when you
Ding,
swipe that
ding.
card, you don't really sit there and like.
Remember the national championship?
Well, no, because again, ding, ding, ding.
I swear. And there was a dude right next to the toilets, like he was waiting right outside. So like,
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, you walk by and he's just got a full case sitting right there,
Yeah.
and he just has a machine. You just ding, hands you a beer,
And
ding,
we were,
hands you a beer.
and we were buying 2 at a time, so I mean, that's the thing. Is
God.
Yeah.
I get it. Like Bush had signs everywhere that said we are cashless to protect you. So basically, like assholes don't try to rob you inside the stadium.
Yeah.
I get it, but
And
at
the
the
whole
same
vid
time,
thing,
right? I get it, but the whole part about it is like, man, this is just so dangerous, though, because like it's real easy, like you said, you just tap.
It's easy to spend when you don't see that money going anywhere.
Right? Yeah, that's the thing.
For me, it was a little different. Like, well, yeah, they did pay for it, but the seats that they bought, those like specific like club seats, you've basically bought into an open bar and buffet, so you don't have to pay. They didn't have to like cover my ticket. They are basically already did by buying my ticket.
Right.
And they bought me a parking pass, which was really dope.
Oh, that's
Oh,
decent.
that's also awesome.
Dude,
that's another like $50 savings.
100%.
So shout out to you guys. Thank you. It was a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's my
legit.
favorite stadium, dude. It's their food. Oh my god.
It was a great stadium. Yeah, the stadium was really pretty.
I
Got to
heard
see a
it's
home
nice
run,
field.
Yeah, it is.
which was really cool.
saw
Unfortunately, the
2.
White Sox blew 5 runs in the last inning.
Oh, Cardinals got their ass beat like in the very beginning of the game. I just sat there and was like, oh, that's cool. Sweet.
Don't call it a
nice
comeback.
day.
Don't call it a comeback.
Right. Paid fucking decent money for this ticket, and they don't even show up.
Yeah, the Sox, where there's a will, they'll find a way to lose. Like, that's...
Same with St. Louis this year.
Yeah.
I was talking to my coworker. They're like me. Her and her husband, kids. They're just like my fandom. They're Cardinals and Packers fans. And I was saying to her, I was like, like, yeah, we've been spoiled as Packer fans with great quarterbacks, but I will say, football, for some reason, it's whatever. I said, as a Cardinals fan, and we're this goddamn bad, and I said, and we've never have been this bad in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I am 33. They have never been this bad in my life. I'm like, holy shit, have I been spoiled with a good team. Like, a bad year was still 10 games over 500, and it's like, you missed playoffs because you could have won 5 to 10 more games. You could have made it, maybe. And it's like, now it's like, oh, we're terrible. And I'm just like, I don't like this at all. And like, this is horrible.
Welcome to Chicago.
And
fandom.
now all the and that's
Welcome.
the thing. And now all the Chicago people, like Cubs and White Sox fans alike, not to talk shit to you, but you're probably like, ha, fuckers, now you know.
Suck
Now
on
you
that.
know.
Suck on
It's just
that.
like,
First time, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I
that
swear.
meme. That is the meme.
I swear.
That
that's
is the
perfect.
meme.
We need to superimpose the logos and have them wear jerseys. First time, huh? Half and half Cubs
Right.
and Sox.
Right.
Yeah, hey, but we still got the fact that took the Sox, only 90 years as opposed to 100 and whatever.
Well, there
for the
you go,
Cubs. We have 05, damn it. It still means something to me.
Made
Hilarious.
something to Mike.
It's still real to me, damn it.
And it's hilarious too how that's like one of the best playoff runs ever.
Yeah.
And like,
And then just went to sleep after that.
yeah.
Just completely to sleep.
God.
Mark Burley just comes in, takes care of business, and then just, we did it. We did our one. Everyone gets one. Unless you're the Vikings.
And then the next year, my fucking team won.
Oh, yeah.
After the same shit, like kind of pretty much bad all year, barely got in, and then beat everyone's ass in the playoffs.
Yep.
Well, that Mets series.
Well, it's you're just the opposite of us. I mean, we kick ass for a good majority of the year, and then as soon as the playoffs start, snooze. Hit snooze.
Yeah,
We're
that's
out.
kind of how this has been recently.
We beat the Astros in every game we play during the year, and then they just kicked the shit out of us in the playoffs for just.
That's because
Well,
they turn the hacks on.
Yeah,
true.
they start beating drums.
All right, let's get into the news. This lightning quick as the flash news here because we got a hefty review day here. So starting off with DC, real quick, Harley Quinn season 4 will premiere on fucking hate it Max this summer.
Real quick, someone shared
Max.
I forgot about all this. Someone just goes HBO fucking changing their shit every 6 months, and it was HBO Go, HBO Now, HBO Max, and I sat there. I was like, I totally fucking forgot they had HBO Go and HBO Now, I used to pay for that shit.
It's gonna be just Go next. It's about 6 months.
Going back to our roots.
Yeah, back to our roots.
Go.
Without the HBO, so we can sell every single named version of this platform to somebody else.
The horse that refuses to die.
No shit.
And then also in Harley Quinn related news, Kite Man spinoff Noonans has been retitled to Kite Man. Hell yeah. So let's go. I'm ignorant to the fact that there was going to be a Kite Man spinoff, or I just forgot if I did know, and I'm really excited to now know.
When I saw that, I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They did say they were going to do a show like that. They're going to make a Superman show like this too, aren't they? In the same kind of style. Isn't that what the new animated Superman is supposed to be?
You're talking about the one that's on Adult Swim?
Yes. Isn't it supposed to be like this?
I think it's already aired. I actually kind of forgot
really?
that came out. I think that the first couple episodes are out, so I'm going to have to check it out. Because I'm not...
I didn't know that came out.
So I'm confused.
Okay.
I don't know if it's actually an adult cartoon or not. I would assume it is since it's on Adult Swim. Or I think it's either that or Cartoon Network. It's either that or Cartoon Network, same thing. It just depends on what time it airs. So I can't remember. In cartoon, I forgot about this one. Cartoon-related news: the Cape Crusader, the spiritual successor of the Bruce Timm animated series. Apparently, this is the series that he would have made if he didn't have the constraints of making it for children. So it's going to be a more mature, I guess, take on the Cape Crusader. So my hype for that kind of went from about. Okay. At least I'm gonna check it out.
It's either it's supposed to be like Harley Quinn and all that, or maybe they were saying it's supposed to be like Invincible.
So the animation does, from what I've seen, reminds me of Invincible. At least
maybe
at least the screenshots I've seen.
Maybe
that's
what I saw that people are comparing it to. So, anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
And then in James Gunn news, not Twitter news. James Gunn podcast news.
James Gunn.
With the GOAT Lex Luthor, Michael Rosenbaum.
I saw that, yeah.
So in this interview, he had some nuggets to drop. He also did confirm 4 cast people cast members or production team members, however you want to look at it, that are going to be guaranteed to come over to the Superman Legacy movie. Beth Mickle is one of them as a production designer. She worked on Guardians Volume 3 and The Suicide Squad. This one I'm honestly not that excited about. Judiana Magovsky, costume designer. I'm sorry. I've never been a huge, oh my god, these suits look sick in any of the Guardians movies.
No.
In any of them. But... I think does she do the Suicide Squad too? Yeah, she also did. So she did Guardians Volume 2, 3, the Holiday Special, and the Suicide Squad. James Gunn Suicide Squad.
Well,
granted, the costumes still, I think, looked better in the Suicide Squad. Maybe it's just because of the filter he was using, his color scheme he was going with. But
do that one costume.
For some reason, any movie she does it for any Gunn's superhero movies, I feel like they just look like it looks like a really good cosplay. I don't buy that it's an actual superhero costume, especially Adam Warlock's. I'm sorry, I think Adam Warlock's suit looks like shit. Just straight up. And the Guardians new team suits that are like comic accurate. I'm like, they just don't.
Yeah.
They don't look good. Like they don't look good.
They just look drab. There's nothing that like catches your.
Like everyone talks about how
Yeah.
Snyder's shit's so dark. Like, look at her fucking costume designs.
Well,
they're all just like
bland-
they're all bland and
generic.
there's just
street,
no
street
hard
clothes.
Yeah,
That's kind of what it reminds you of.
Yeah, it is what it reminds you of.
That
So
doesn't-
I got what you meant immediately when you pre-apologized for what you're gonna say. It's like shit. I know what you're saying.
She can redeem herself though. Don't give him the fucking red tights. You do that, fine.
Let's hope not.
Fine. Yeah, I'll accept it. Also, Henry Braham, cinematographer, who worked on Volume 2, 3, and The Suicide Squad. Oh, and apparently, he also was a cinematographer for The Flash.
Okay.
Stefan Soretti, VFX supervisor. Good, because I do think James Gunn's VFX supervisor, and VFX teams have done pretty good work. Although, what's his list here? Guardians 3, Holiday Special, and also helped with other MCU projects such as Endgame, the first Doctor Strange, and Eternals. Okay. I can live with that. And then also in this podcast, he did confirm that Blue Beetle is officially the first hero in the new DCU. It's not the first DCU movie. Which I understand this can be somewhat confusing, but it's not that confusing. Like, James Gunn didn't help make this movie, so like I liked it enough to keep the character to come over, but obviously it's not something him and Peter actually worked on together as the new regime, so it doesn't really count as the new first DCU project. That's all that means. I don't know why it's so hard for some of you guys to understand on the Twitter. But
we can beat that drum again. We can beat that drum.
But then also in the interview, Rosenbaum brought up, if there was a Lex Luthor in your universe, is he going to be more grounded and have gravitas and basically be more like his Luthor? Because
based.
Because
he's a fucking goat.
He's the goat. Wait, is it because that's how Lex Luthor's supposed to be?
So he also said he's not going to be like zany or crazy. Everybody immediately, who do you guys think he was referring to?
Oh man, I can't.
Huh.
So obviously a lot of
we all know who
a
he
certain
was
point.
referring to.
Oh, but apparently not actually.
What?
So
Oh,
everybody took that as a Jesse Eisenberg stab.
So he's stabbing at
Gene Hackman's is actually what the stab was apparently at, because James Gunn has actually openly in the past been critical of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor.
You know, I haven't watched those movies in so long.
Saying he's
I
a
would
little,
have to.
little campy over the top.
I thought for a minute you were about to say.
Could also argue Kevin Spacey's Luthor.
Well, that movie's just.
That movie's trash.
Yeah.
So quick to that.
And actually,
It's trash.
Now that one
real estate.
That one I
Fuck. And people give Star Wars shit for bringing politics. Fuck, I'd rather deal with politics and fucking real estate.
That one
that's
I
a
do.
fact.
I do. That
That's a
one
hot
I do.
fact.
That one I do
Fuck.
remember Kevin Spacey being really over the top. But no, the one I was thinking of is that I was worried about. You're taking a shot at was the. Oh God, the guy from 2.5 Men. He plays Luthor in Supergirl.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right. I forgot about
yeah.
that.
Because I thought always
He's
did,
actually he's actually a really good actor.
I was gonna
actually.
say I don't
I
remember
always
his being
thought-
too
I always thought that he
over the
was
top, but
I checked
Yeah.
out of the Arrowverse at that point, but I did see clips from the clips I saw. I was like, oh, that was like
thought-
interesting cast. Never would have saw it.
dude,
but
I
it
was
works.
big.
Well,
on
he
that for a long
played-
time.
Well, he played like in one of the old. He was the child actor for one of the old Superman movies, one of the Christopher Reeves ones. Like he's like Luthor's nephew or something in it. Like I don't know how big the role actually is, but that's the thing is like he was happy to come back for the Supergirl show and actually be Lex Luthor, and I thought he did a good job. So
Oh shit! Actually, I kind of lied. This is technically James Gunn Twitter news because this is straight out of the horse's mouth. Now, whether you think he's a habitual liar, like a bunch of people say he is, even though I don't think he's actually technically lied yet.
Freya, does this mean it's James Gunn tweets?
a habitual liar.
So fly the eagle.
Habitual line stepper.
Like how God, we're so educated.
So somebody
So educated.
somebody has a video of the clip of this, saying just Michael Rosebaum making James Gunn promise DCU's Lex won't be like BVS Lex Luthor LMAO. Somebody replied in it tagging James Gunn. Was this a diss to Eisenberg? He's one of the best actors of our generation. He's a good actor. I don't know.
John Cryer, by the way, is the actor
Oh, yes.
I was
Yes,
thinking
yes.
of. I thought you were gonna say it was a shot at him, and I was like, "What the hell did he do wrong?" It was great. I was like,
James replied saying, I was not referring to Jesse, and then replied to himself saying, in reading these replies, sometimes it seems like people are looking for things to get outraged about and have little sense of history. Although Donner's Superman movies are some of my favorites, I've spoken out publicly before and even written about it in EW back in the early 2000s, perhaps unwisely, that Lex Luthor is not my favorite part of those films. The portrayal can lean campy, and I wish he seemed like a greater threat, and I wish he played it bald throughout. I regret having intimidated that I didn't like any Lex on Michael's show, but there it is. For the record, I think Hackman's one of the 5 greatest actors of the 70s and 80s, and he starred in some of my favorite movies. I just didn't love him as Lex. There you go.
okay.
I like to dispel fake shit. So, there's that. He wasn't referring to Jesse.
Again, I have not seen the Donner Superman or any of them in years. So I don't remember how campy it could have been, but
It's been forever.
I will believe it just because they were made, back in the 80s, basically.
And then my last little tidbits, since we're going to be reviewing it here soon, reportedly the estimated rack-in of money that the Flash got for night 1, opening night of the limited half night. It
9 million?
estimated $9.7 million for the first night, which is
Decent.
it's okay.
Yeah, especially
okay.
for a kind of early opening night. That's good.
So, and really, I think the bread and butter, hopefully, with this first weekend would be Sunday because it's Father's Day.
Facts.
And I feel like that's really when this movie in the first weekend is gonna pop off the most. To me, since Keaton's in it.
Based on the demographic
Spoilers
we saw
if
in
you've
the
never seen a
theaters
trailer
yesterday.
for this movie.
Based on the demographics of the theater we saw yesterday,
Yeah.
that's facts. That's hard facts.
So we'll see how it does in the
coworker
opening.
that was like, "You got to tell me all about it," and I walked over and I was like, "It's, we'll get there, but
Yeah.
Just for reference,
Spit hot
not
fire.
that I think this is necessarily. I mean, it could, but I don't think it will. This is a pretty much on par opening that the first Aquaman had, which went on to make $1 billion. I don't think this is going to make $1 billion.
no, probably
It could have if there wasn't all the drama behind it, potentially.
True. I was thinking about that.
But
Yeah.
other than that, a decent opening for opening night. So we'll see what the numbers are after the first weekend. Hopefully the last estimates I heard were around like 70 to 90 million. If they could crack over 100, hopefully ideally make around maybe 120-ish if they could get that lucky. I don't think they will, but you never know.
This seems like a movie though that once people word of mouth of how good it really is, I mean,
I
or how
hope
and how
so.
interesting it is, I think there could be a higher upside than that.
That's the thing. There's a lot of nostalgia in it, and yeah, if it gets a good word of mouth, like the first Aquaman really did, because I'd like this. It didn't have a super strong opening. Very okay, very decent, very solid opening first night, but nothing to I think the third Ant-Man was around 17 million opening night, somewhere around there. So we'll see if it has legs. Hopefully it does. I think it has that potential. I mean, the audience scores seem to really like it so far, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And then that does it for DC news. So we'll obviously skirt and pivot back to the Flash review here in a bit, but moving on to Marvel.
Oh,
As
Marvel.
my throat dies.
Yeah,
I am the Batman.
you were drying out over it.
All right, so I'm just gonna rattle off through a lot of stuff that's been going on. I think more highlights the past couple weeks, but
This is the Quicksilver news.
this is the quick. I actually talked about him today at lunch because of just reasons and talking about him. And
Well, I mean, why not though?
and then I brought up how I was like, he's in the
Quicksilver. Quicksilver's cool.
Well, first we
Super
were
duper cool.
first we were initially talking about Nicolas Cage for reasons, and then
Reasons.
yeah, and then it just kind of led into him because of the movie Kick-Ass. But anyways, whatever.
I love that movie.
I know that's what I was telling him. Like none of them had seen it. I was like, you should see this. But
I love
anyways.
him.
So, real quick, Chris Miller and Phil Lord, which were the Into the Spider-Verse directors, they were talking to The Hollywood Reporter sometime back. Apparently, the Silk and the Spidey Noir series that are going to be made, like, I think that's part of Sony's whole deal with Amazon to make a bunch of shows on Amazon. So, is the strike still going on?
I think so.
So those are basically
I've been hearing
on
a lot
hold.
of announcement dates today, though. It gets me scratching my head. I'm like, really? We're gonna
Right.
announce shit?
Well, that's like kind of a bulk of my news is that like so those are on hold, but then over at Disney for Marvel, they apparently had already started filming Deadpool 3,
Okay.
and then Discussing Film tweeted out, and a lot of other accounts on Twitter and all this, everyone started saying, like, reverbing this, that apparently now the MCU released that they've moved Deadpool up to next year in May.
Cool.
That's supposed to release. So I was like, well, that makes sense then that they're filming it.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're trying to push it out next year.
Wild. That could be catastrophic, honestly. That makes me really
I'm trying
fucking
not
It could be
to-
catastrophic for a lot of movies that are in production.
I'm trying not to.
No, it's really bad, though, because Ryan Reynolds can't ad-lib anything.
Right, I know.
Because he's part of the WGA. So if they're until they finish that up, whatever script he wrote, because I'm pretty sure he also writes these movies too, which I think is also another big why he can't ad lib or anything. Like it goes against. I think that's catastrophic.
Yeah.
Well, then let's hopefully this fucking strike gets over and they figure it out, so then it doesn't get too far along.
Unless he is very, very comfortable in what he has got written down already, and unless he's already written down potential, I don't know how that exactly works. If he could write different if he already did spitball different ideas, we could go this way or go this way. So if he already has it down, maybe we're good. So if he's that confident,
I have seen
then that
those.
might be a good sign.
Have you seen those in
Can
the
I say
scripts where
this?
they have the parentheses and the
Can I say
multiple
this?
options for
Does
everything?
it really matter since they're already filming? I mean, call him a scab?
Pretty
because
much. Pretty much. You know how unions get.
He's passionate about his shit. Like, I don't know.
Well, they all are until business gets involved.
But they all got to stand together, so they all get paid more.
True.
You know.
True.
That's why
A brave new world.
Oh boy,
I almost sang it because it's just
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw
that title. I'm sorry. I just kind of hate it because it's just I can make the goddamn jokes about it,
brother.
It's like
the meme factory is gonna be pumping out this bullshit for a long time.
Yeah, I won't say I'm a big fan of the change. Although
I don't think anyone is, but
no.
anyways,
I had
hopefully they change it again.
I saw
Whatever.
some tweet today.
Change it again, Disney.
I saw some tweet today from somebody saying like classic DC copying Marvel again, coming out with Batman Brave and the Bold after they changed the name to Brave New Order, whatever. I was like, I want to fucking punch you so goddamn bad. You're so stupid. I can't tell if you're perfectly trying to rage bait. I was like, I hope so. But there are so many people.
They're brave. We gotta be brave.
Ignorant.
They're brave. We gotta be brave.
All right, so that apparently got pushed to August of next year. August 26th is the date. Thunderbolts is December 20th, 24, which, speaking on that one, Harbour, he on his Instagram posted how he was at Disneyland and he was like, well, I'm going to enjoy my life while Thunderbolts is on hold in production because of the strike. Flat out just posted that on his account. So everyone's like, well, we know for sure that's not doing anything at all.
So if there was any hope,
MCU Flash equivalent Blade has been pushed to February 14th.
What do you know?
February 14th of 2025.
What do you know?
Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four May.
Hey, future me, don't be lazy. Go back and play the clip of me saying it's the beginning of your DC saga.
I swear.
All right.
I patched it right in here.
Fantastic Four is May 2nd of 25. And then, for an entire year, we won't have anything, apparently, from them as far as a movie until Kang Dynasty in 26, and then Secret Wars in 27. Both in May.
Ouch.
So, that makes me kind of wonder if Fantastic Four is supposed to be a big, pivotal part going into Kang Dynasty. And like I've been saying, I kind of hope that it's all Kang for Kang Dynasty, and then I hope with Fantastic Four just somehow we end up getting Galactus, and maybe Galactus is the Secret Wars thing, like, I mean, the Planet Eater and whatever. But anyways,
Not the Dust Cloud though. We don't need that again.
no, we don't. Do not, just because you bought Fox does not mean you have to repeat the same mistakes.
Or was that Parallax from Green Lantern? Or was it both?
Oh shit!
I
It was
actually
both.
can't remember. Yeah.
It was both.
Both of them.
Speaking of that movie, I about rewatched that the other night just because I was so bored. And I was like, well, it is bad, but I don't hate it.
Said Eternals.
But
Green Lantern.
Oh, Green Lantern. Oh, the Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah.
Listen. It's a bad movie, but it's a guilty way. I've watched it several
It is a
times.
guilty pleasure
Yeah.
movie of mine.
Yes.
I don't mind watching it.
And it might be because I like Ryan Reynolds. I don't know if it's just
Dude, it's
that's
totally
that's
because
only
I
reason.
have a man. It's because I have a man crush on Ryan Reynolds. Like, that's the dude that I look at and I'm like, I wish I was that guy. Because he's just who he is, and he's fucking loaded because he was smart with his money from being an actor, and
He's with Blake Lively.
yeah, and thank God he made that shitty movie because he met the mother of his children. So, like, you know, I don't know.
At least something came
yeah,
of
maybe you
that.
should be more grateful, Ryan.
Oh my god.
The only other things I got is the Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew movies still in the works. They've also come out and said that Madam Web apparently is going to be more of a thriller. That was according to the producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura. So, I don't know. That'll be interesting. We got a clear look at the Captain America suit, like the new suit.
Mhm.
So, you know, and I've got that right here if you want to throw it in. Yeah.
Very
So, and then
is that similar to the one he wore? Kind of.
I think it's similar
Evans
to
wore in Winter Soldier, or
that's what I'm thinking.
right?
Is that it looks like it's more the dark navy blue that like Evans wore in Winter Soldier.
Okay, I was making sure I got the right movie.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Daredevil is on pause. Strike, you know. So just, you know.
Doesn't talk Kingpin from talking shit online though.
Get your shit together.
I saw that. What did he say though? Like,
He says a bunch of shit.
yeah, that's the thing.
Some of the things I'm like,
Like,
wow,
I
I cannot
kinda-
believe you get away with.
I don't. Yeah,
Who's
I
this
won't
you say?
lie. Vincent D'Onofrio, or however you say it. He's just
D'Onofrio?
like he just doesn't. He just says what he wants. And I'll admit, like you said, he's right. He says so much that I just kind of ignore it at this point. I should probably just actually, for the sake of this pod and to give you guys better, like,
Vincent
material,
D'Onofrio tweet segment.
and
Yeah, no
Vincent
shit. Just
Diablo.
Kingpin tweet segment.
Yeah. Tweet segment. Yeah, I'm probably butchering his name. 'Cause I'm an idiot. But anyways,
That's the most
okay.
endearing thing about you,
Yeah.
Kevin. Our audience loves that about you, that you just mispronounce everybody's
Okay.
names. It's endearing.
And then have you seen this stuff on Tanakh Huerta that plays Namor?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I feel like, to me, this is like kind of just now coming out. Like, I don't remember this. Apparently this is from an incident a year ago.
With
But
the ex-girlfriend or whatever.
yes.
The saxophone player,
But I
whatever.
think this revelation is new, though.
Okay, that's how I felt on this. Is like this is like a new revelation. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
he's-
she recently just came out and spoke out about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
And
he-
then now,
I
and
thought
now-
with what
and
I
now-
was seeing is that, like, she brought it up like a year ago, and they were it was being kept quiet this whole time, but now he has chosen to like break silence and say like, this is all bullshit. Our relationship
I don't know.
was...
Oh, see,
Because he released a statement like 2 days after. Like,
about to say, I heard the
Okay.
news of this coming out and breaking, and then a few days later he came out and vehemently denied it.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
the incident,
Maybe
allegedly, the alleged incident could have happened a
Maybe-
year
okay,
ago.
maybe
But I
that's what it
think,
was.
well, he said he was getting his legal team together to prep for anything that she might do because it was a
Yeah.
bad fallout after their relationship, and he thought that she might be up to something, so he hired a legal team to like prep against her to protect him and his image and stuff. Especially with everything with Majors that just happened. I'm sure a lot of celebrities.
exactly what a
I'm-
guilty person
I'm
would
reading
say. No,
this
I'm just
from-
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm reading the
True,
article.
but also a not guilty.
Oh,
Oh,
go
thanks.
get it, girl.
Stranger danger.
Thanks for that. That's our guard dog.
Freya.
I am reading
Guard us
on
from the
off
wind.
the direct.
Guard us from those.
The
leaves
wind is
outside.
too brisk for you.
Yeah, I know.
It says I guess he apparently said false and completely unsubstantiated accusation about me has spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
I can't let it go unchallenged any longer. About a year ago, I dated Elena for several months. It was entirely consensual at all times, as countless others can attest. And throughout, it was a loving, warm, and mutually supportive relationship. After it ended, however, Elena began to misinterpret our interactions both privately and in front of groups of mutual friends. Article goes on and says, he says, quote, as a result, a few months ago, I engaged a legal team to commence the appropriate actions to protect my reputation and refute these irresponsible and false accusations that can cause great prejudice and damage.
That's a great statement.
I think we know what he's kind of getting at there. Although I am by no means perfect, I know that these allegations are simply untrue, and while I will always work to improve myself, I need to contest claims that are both false and offensive. Deeply grateful to my family, people who have supported me, and greatly appreciative of everyone who is willing to look at the facts and reflect before rushing to an untrue and unjust conclusion. I haven't seen much more about this, so I don't really know exactly. Has the actual, what went down came out, or is this,
I
don't think any details of the situation
Okay.
have been given. But
That said, legal team's probably putting in work on that.
First off, as an unbiased person, because I don't obviously know what happened in this situation, I have no dog in the race.
right?
Just from an outside perspective, what a statement! I mean,
A great statement.
That's a well-written statement.
I mean,
May the truth just unfold, and I would like either way to just hope that it's false, just because I obviously don't want to just. He's a great actor. You don't want that to happen,
Right.
and you also just don't want to hear that somebody that is that talented or whatever is capable of doing such a terrific or terrible act, and obviously somebody living through said terrible act. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, just all around it's false.
the truth will set you free.
But
It always does.
but yeah, either way, hopefully the truth does come out for better or for worse. And that just sucks, man. Marvel is.
It seems like it's everywhere.
Everyone's
man.
giving us crap.
It's everywhere.
Everyone's giving us
Yeah,
crap right now for our
it's
our
everywhere.
bad
I'm
egg.
not trying to.
It's everywhere. Homie.
We got two.
I'm
actually.
not
One's
trying.
almost gone,
I was saying I'm not trying to
though. Oh, I guess both are almost gone.
be this person and seem like I don't really care about that specifically. And how really to your point of what you said, you hope it's just not true, but yeah, not good for Marvel though. Now you got two.
Yeah, you got
And then,
allegedly majors, and
Hot Water,
now
apparently.
got your villains and pseudo villains being villains.
they're just committed to the role. Method
Yeah,
acting.
God damn. That's tough.
Thank you there.
You guys-
Yeah, they're just method acting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
and they're just kind of stuck in it like Leto was.
Pulling the
you know?
Daniel Day-Lewis,
Like
just
little
getting
Heath
into
Ledger
it.
action now.
Yeah,
That's
kind of
oof.
stuck in it.
A little Ezra Miller action.
Oh, God.
no.
Choking out randos.
Oh, one other thing.
Moving on.
Did you
Allegedly.
I saw
Oh
the
no,
video.
that's on tape. Yeah.
I saw the video. He said allegedly. I said I saw that damn video.
I saw
Just
it.
cracks him up against the wall. I'm like, damn.
Um,
Calm down, Flash.
I saw that video. Well, since we're gonna review it, also too, so obviously as Across the Spider-Verse has been out, like the actors have been doing all this promoting of it and all these interviews and all that stuff. Did you see where Steinfeld was asked, like with Marvel doing multiverse now and in the live action and the crossovers, have you like considered how your animated Gwen Stacy could be brought to life and then meet your Kate Bishop? And she like danced around it completely. Like she gave a very well danced around answer. She goes, yeah, no, I have thought of that, and that would be something that would be like pretty cool, and like just kind of like danced around it, and people are like getting real hype that like that might actually end up happening, and I don't know.
That'd be kind of cool.
It'd be kind of cool, but
the whole corporate. Well, we're looking into
but
that.
I won't lie. I'd rather just like have an Emma Stone live action Spider Gwen.
That'd be cool.
And then also bring back Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. So then he
hey brother, I'm there all the way. Let's go.
So then he has to like
take my money,
double, bro.
Right? So then like he has to like
double, bro.
he has
I
to
swear.
deal. He has to deal with that.
I swear, dude. I'm telling you, every time I see Garfield, I'm like,
I've
This
been told that a few times. I think we have a couple different features, but I still see it. I'm like, but I take it as 100% compliment. He's actually one of my favorite actors. So.
Same build and everything, dude. It's the weirdest thing.
He's still, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man. Fight me.
Well, when you're looking in a mirror and seeing yourself,
Did he have the best written movies? No, he did not.
Well, just the first one's great.
I mean, I liked the first one.
The first one's great.
I liked all of them. Shit. I don't know.
Second one, the second one just.
I like
can
it.
feel it in the walls.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here! God damn it.
The second one. Is, the second one is bad.
Hey, I don't think it takes a lot for me to not enjoy a movie. I'll tell you that.
What I've always said, I will say, yes, you're right. I like Spider-Man. His Peter Parker, though, I was never big on.
See, I like it because it's more of the instead of. I mean, he's still like a nerd, but he's not like the typical. Which I don't think made sense when that movie came out. Really, when you think of just where things are, just like the classical. Oh, you're a nerd. I'm a bully. What? Just no. I think that was kind of a.
He was kind of a
trope that
hipster,
was just
wasn't
ran dry at that. But he was an outcast, which is also an interpretation. Like that, to me, that's most important. Is he just needs to be an outcast.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Whether it's because he's a nerd or whatever, he just needs to be an outcast. And
I guess I was too used to like kind of thinking as Peter Parker as like he's a nerd and like Tobey Maguire, and like that's why to me, like Tobey Maguire was great as Peter Parker, but as Spider-Man he was kind of like a cornball.
100%.
Those movies are very campy, but that's very Raimi too.
Yeah,
that's very Raimi.
Yeah. How dare you? Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest.
I won't lie. I feel like
no, we
haven't gotten into it.
I go back and watch them. I'm like, shit. We regarded these as so great when they came out. You watch them, they just don't age well.
So I don't know if you guys would agree with this or not. Not that we're getting into the Flash review yet, but I'm not watching the Flash. It actually, when I was sitting there, I was like, this feels very Sam Raimi. Just like,
it was campy as shit.
Just certain things, campy, just certain shots and stuff. I was like, this feels very Sam Raimi.
We'll get there.
Definitely.
We'll get there. That's all I got though. Star Wars.
I didn't bring too much to the table today. Obviously, I want to get to the reviews. I'll save a little bit for next week. But the big rumor for the new movie coming out, or obviously not coming out, but it's not Favreau, Filoni's movie.
It's just another Star Wars project that'll get canceled after they announce a director.
Facts.
Sorry.
Facts. That's facts. I mean, honestly, this would be the one.
Well, didn't they set release dates? I thought they did for 2 of them.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything specific, but Idris Elba is rumored to be the villain in the Filoni movie, and I'm like, I like it because I don't know who it could be, so I need a new villain. Give me one.
No Thrawn then, or well, Thrawn could be there, but just not the main villain.
Right, he could be more the Force villain in this. I think that would be an awesome role for him. But it's rumors in the rumor stage at this point, so I haven't heard any details or anything like that would confirm that 100%.
Well, I'm all for Idris Elba being in Star Wars.
Hell yeah, dude.
No, I was pretty certain they didn't say which ones they were going to be, but I think like one was like it's Christmas time of December 2025.
I did hear something about that, but I thought
Yeah.
it was just a rumor. I didn't know it was confirmed.
I swore like Disney
Because they always do the
or Lucas-
Christmas release.
I think a bunch of companies came out today and like confirmed like future release dates.
Yeah.
Like I think Disney did, Sony did. I think even Warner Brothers did. Yeah, like I said, I don't understand how.
Disney
Well,
and-
we still got the WGA
Yeah,
strike
right.
going. Like, I don't
Games-
understand how they're that confident, but
GameSpot. Disney announced release dates for a number of upcoming films on Tuesday, and this includes the next Star Wars movies. Disney has announced that a Star Wars movie previously set for December 25 is shifting to May 22nd, 2026. They're referencing Hollywood Reporter that they're thinking it's the start of the Ridley trilogy, the new
Okay.
Ridley trilogy.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense for that, for timing wise, of all the releases
And
and
then-
everything coming out.
Yeah, so then there's the Ridley trilogy, and then apparently right now they're saying that there's another one for later that year in December of 26, and then there's another one a year later in December of 27.
That seems more realistic for Filoni's in 27
I mean, maybe.
because it's gonna be a lot.
I would more think that because maybe Ridley's trilogy, they might be just like Lord of the Ringsing it, just filming it all at once.
Sure.
And then they'll just release one year by year.
if they
Yeah.
actually believe in the story, that would financially be the smarter decision.
Yeah, and not have 3 different directors or 2 different ones back and forth, high-fiving movies back and forth.
Yeah, that'd be a good call.
Let's announce a trilogy and then write the first one,
And not know
and then
where
have
we're
no
going.
idea where we're going by the end of the first
And
one,
let somebody take the reins from
and
the
then let
second
somebody
one
else
and figure it out.
piss on that vision. let's take the DC approach, okay?
Yes.
We'll have our Zack Snyder, right? But then we'll bring the Whedon in to piss on it.
Hey, struck a nerve with this one. It's coming.
Yeah,
It's coming. It's
yeah.
coming. It's coming.
All right.
But no, but that I could see that too. Or I mean, even the whole Daisy Ridley thing. Obviously, she needs to get a little bit older too for it to make sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, facts.
you know, yeah. I mean, 'cause
there's-
she looks like a
There's
kid.
makeup. There's makeup.
True. I mean, they can do a lot of good things.
Hair
but
dye.
But there's certain things, and I don't know.
I mean, she doesn't really look like a kid anymore.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
she
that's
is
true.
like.
It also been some years too since it came out.
She is like, I think at least 30 by now.
Jesus,
Yeah.
that's crazy. When you're forgettable, when you're in a forgettable movie like that, it's hard to remember timelines of when they came out.
No.
But anyway, the actual big news.
Yeah, she's 31.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
She's
she-
fine.
Yeah. I mean, and anything they needed to do, they could do. But the big news: Star Wars open world game. I did watch the like we talked
Oh, yeah.
about on
Yeah.
Outlaws. It looks fucking good. It looks good. But I am really upset about one thing. I am upset that this is not a fully customizable character, like Skyrim of Star Wars type of world setup, like they were saying it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it looks like that's the gameplay of it is like it looks like it's like it's no loading screens, but they are there.
They're,
You're
they're
just-
tactfully placed.
they're tactfully placed to where like you are going through them.
Yes.
Wait, did
Like-
they release gameplay trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
like,
Oh, yeah.
they
It's
show
crispy.
you like you can hop in your ship and you get off of a planet and it just like shows like you pilot into the atmosphere and then you eventually just out in space.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like No
Um,
Man's Sky.
And,
yeah.
and the cool part is
So how many days how many days after the teaser trailer did they?
same day. I thought I sent it to you
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think I
must
did.
have just missed
because I
it.
remember I said "Ask and you shall receive," and that was the gameplay.
Oh, I must have missed it then.
Yeah, no, it looks really good, and I like how the developers came out and said they're kind of trying to explain their idea of the open world concept and why they wanted to do this with Star Wars is, if you're riding a speeder through an open field in like the back country of one of these planets, and you see a ship fly over you, you can go and follow that ship, and when they land, see who's on it and what they're doing, and you can rob them or steal their ship or whatever. So that's dope as hell to me. But obviously, in the trailer we saw a lot of because this is supposed to take place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw Han Solo and Carbonite, or what appeared to be Han Solo and Carbonite, getting toted across by unnamed bounty hunters and Boba Fett. And I mean, I'm really interested to see how they try to force those to be incorporated in this criminal underbody of the universe, and how they're proceeding and pushing forward while the Empire advances. Because obviously, the struggle bus of the is the rebels. The struggle bus of the rebels in the galaxy at that point. We're getting it from a completely different standpoint with K. Vess. That's the name of the outlaw that they're giving us, since we can't customize our own fucking characters. But I'm not taking that personally or anything.
Yeah.
But no. They uploaded a 10-minute gameplay segment, I think, the day that they released the trailer later on, and it looks really crispy. It looks really good. I'm interested to see how they do the gunfighting and combat sequences.
So I'll have to check it out then. Yeah, I must have completely missed it then. I just saw the announcement trailer and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, meh. Okay.
And you know what? We've talked about this before, but it's such a bold move not making a Star Wars movie, show, game without Force users being the primary catalyst of the what you're watching it for, or playing it for. Because Cal Kestis, obviously he's a badass and he just dices his way through everything, and you get to use the Force and have lightsaber combat and stuff like that, and that's the drawing force for most people that like Star Wars. Then you get this where you're using a blaster the whole time, and you have a little creature that does odd jobs for you like BD does for Cal, but blasters.
As soon as that thing popped up, I was like, God damn merchandise, man.
Oh, I know. I know. It's crazy, dude.
Even in the games.
And you know what? And you know what they do?
Can't get away from them.
The genius part of all that in Disney, if you go to Disney, there's like this whole section of stands with all the different characters, like even Babu Frick, like all of them, like all the little characters. You can they have magnetic bottoms, so you can put them on your shoulder. Any of them, like Grogu, any of them, and all these kids swarm these things.
Yeah,
like literally like wasps to the hive. Like they're just crawling all over them. You have kids fighting over them. It's just...
Yeah, come on, parents, buy one, buy them all. What, are you gonna be a shitty parent?
For the low price.
You gotta ruin
mortgage.
your day's world here.
The low price of your mortgage.
Yeah, of your mortgage payment every
for
month.
The low price of opening up a line of credit on your home.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for coming to Disney World. We own your home.
Thanks for coming to Disney. Fuck you.
You work for us now.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, be sure to clock in tomorrow.
Get in the back. We got dishes to watch, kid.
Right. But honestly, outside of that, I can't wait. We're going to be a heist-based game. It's supposed to be, and from what I understand, they're going to incorporate this into a lot of the new content. Obviously, which they've kind of been doing with the whole Survivor and the Fallen Order gameplay. But I'm interested to see how they do that with this, considering we've all been calling for pirates other than Mr. Seaweed-looking dude from Mando. We've been calling for pirates forever, and Hondo and all
But
that.
I was like, that right there. I was like, yeah, but I just want one specific pirate.
Well, and he's the pirate.
Yeah.
He's the pirate. So,
Is he alive in this time?
Yeah, he should be. I would think so. We never saw him die.
Seen him die.
You heard it here first.
He's
Never
friends
seen
with
him
Jedi.
die.
He's friends with Jedi. He always says that.
He is friends with the Jedi.
Yeah, I'm friends with good friends with the Jedi. And then
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's just like, shut up. it's constantly the back and forth. But no, I'm excited for that. That's really all the big thing I wanted to talk about this week. That's the. I mean,
Is there a release date?
Not hard release date, but 2024. That's all that's anybody's said anything thus far. So, but we can get to the big time reviews.
All right, boys. What order? What order do you guys want to do this in?
You want to do Spider-Man first?
Yeah, might as well.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, across the Spider-Verse. We went across the Spider-Verse.
Sure did. I mean, dude, it was so much shit going on the entire movie. Just blast off.
Well, I think you and I just said, I was like, a lot going on. And you're like, yeah, it's kind of non-stop. And it felt like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was so worried about reviewing this. Because I was like, dude, there's so much shit. It's like, there's so many things that happen.
Dude, but this guy, the beginning was just hilarious with the Spot. And like how he couldn't even control his powers.
Yeah.
He's like, let me rob you, dude. And he's just fucking up, and he's popping in and out of places. And
it was sweet.
Oh god.
We do a non-spoiler first, or
yeah.
Granted, it's in the very beginning. It's not really a big plot point, so it's not like you gave away anything super big.
Well, and it's been out for a couple weeks now too.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting it's been out a little longer than the other movie we just saw.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, we can just as non-spoilery.
It's just general thoughts. Just like
general thought is though, even though the movie, the plot is going at freaking as fast as the Flash can run.
I swear.
I still thought it was very, very good, and I would absolutely recommend it if you saw the first one, or just as long as you saw the first one, I would absolutely recommend this. It's a nice continuation from the first one.
Dude, I like these. These are sneakily becoming my favorite movies to wait to come out. It's like I loved the first one, loved it, and then this one. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it. I liked it a lot, but as you put them together, I like this a lot.
I don't
That's
know
where
if
I
maybe
agree as well.
I don't know if maybe it got a little overhyped because very early reactions to this was like, oh, it's fantastic, it's so good, it's just as good as the first one. I kind of had that feeling too, where I'm watching. I'm like, this is really good.
It had parts that were better than the first, and the action scene moments.
Yeah, but there's some things about it that I'm like, well, I don't know. Kind of wish there was more of this character, or things of that nature.
Yeah, they short-ended a couple of storylines, obviously this is the non-spoilery version, but
I feel like the best way I could sum up how I felt was, yes, it moves at the breakneck speed of the Flash, but I still feel like there's not a full arc still. Or it's just there were so many things that were set up. Granted, part of this is on me because I didn't realize this was going to be like a Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1, Part 2 situation.
Right.
And we did talk about that before, obviously, recording, and I did not either.
So that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit as far as how I felt in the moment watching it. I was just, because honestly, when it ended, I was like, what the fuck? But I feel like how I feel about it now will change, and by the time
the third one comes out,
it'll probably I'll warm up to it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably feel, honestly, the quality of these movies have been. I feel like by the time we get the third one, my feelings will probably I'll forget about it and it'll go boop.
Right.
Well, they definitely animated both at the same time because they said that
they're only a year apart. I think. I think the next one comes out next year.
Yeah, and I mean, they literally have said I think people have misinterpreted the animators, directors, the whole team behind this movie, because they said well, we worked on this for 4 years. Well, I think they worked on both, in whole.
Yeah, the whole movie.
The whole damn thing took 4 years, because they were saying how one scene in it took them months to do.
I believe it.
Yeah,
that's what I love. These movies. They're so unique, and they up the ante. I feel like for animation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
for sure.
comics.
It makes you almost proud to be an American when it comes to animation. You're like, yeah, yeah, we're in the race. Yeah, we're top quality as well.
Right, yeah.
And dude,
But-
just comic book movies in general. This
Because
just
usually
the possibilities you can do with this animation.
Yeah.
it's
Christ.
just it's so artistic, the stuff they do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like no spoilers, but I love like the animation they do in Gwen Stacy's world.
Yeah.
It's very very artsy, but it's also like very beautiful and poetic, and I'll get into that more in the spoiler section. But yeah, overall, like the animation is top notch, just like it was in the first one. No complaints there. Yeah, I just felt a little lacking some calories in certain departments.
Yeah.
But I think it'll age like fine wine once we get the third
Mhm.
one. I think it'll.
Once
Yeah,
we-
you'll be able to sit down and just watch all three of these. Just bang, bang.
the trilogy.
bang,
Once you put it together, I think
and then
it'll
I
be a lot
think
more
at that
satisfying.
point,
Well-
it does. Despite me
Will it,
feeling
though?
down on this, I
Because,
do feel like
okay.
this has a potential to be like one of them GOAT trilogies. Granted,
Swear.
however you feel about
But it's
animation,
like the Matrix, though. It's like the first one is its standalone thing.
Right.
And then now you've got these sequels that are like, well, these two are their own thing. So I'm just kind of like, so I'm kind of even more like when I realized, oh yeah, they split the sequel up into two parts, it's two movies. Just like, man, that's just like how they did the Matrix. That really didn't work out. So
If they were as
don't
far removed as the Matrix was from each other, I would say so. But it's a. At first, I was a little worried because of how it started initially, but then as it progressed, I was like, it's some more of its continuation than
yeah,
more of a continuation than the Matrix would have
Yeah.
been. But if they were that far removed, I would definitely be on the same page you are. But
yeah,
you
true.
know.
yeah, and honestly,
Yeah.
me not really knowing that the third one was going to be this quick of a turnaround, I will admit, and I talked to you guys a little bit about it before. Like at a point in this movie, I was like, this feels like it's dragging.
2.5 hours, man.
And then
That's
it
a long
ended.
movie.
Dude, yeah,
That's a long movie, man.
that's a long movie.
Yeah, that's really all I can say, I guess, about
That's
it.
fine.
I don't even know if I can give it a fucking score.
Well,
It's
do you want
hard-
to
it's
wait to
hard to-
score it until we just do a spoiler?
Yeah,
yeah.
recommend seeing it. Yeah,
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
say.
I
give
mean,
it-
yeah,
yes.
go see it.
Definitely
like, don't
see it.
take us like we're saying, no, definitely go see it. And especially if you saw the first one, then go see this one.
Yeah, they're great, and like you said, this could be a goated trilogy coming up. I mean,
Mhm.
because these are slowly, like I said, secretly, sneakily becoming some of my favorite comic book movies.
Yeah.
and you never know how important a bagel could be. All right, so let's move into the spoilers.
Or tomatoes.
Or tomatoes. Food's very important, KP.
That's right.
Oh.
That's
He
thanks,
says, "Wow."
and that's thanks to our sponsor. Just good old-fashioned food, man. Just eat, man.
Yeah. Just don't eat like crap.
Just don't eat like shit. Thanks for the
I did that
sponsorship.
today and it's tearing my stomach up.
Oh, dude, I had one of those Wagyu burgers from Arby's.
You see, KP today didn't stick to his Mother Nature diet.
Did not, and my body's like, fuck you.
Fuck
Seriously.
you.
All right.
All right, spoiler time.
You want to mark it?
What are we marking?
Also, so I know how long.
102.
Oh, okay. That's okay. We haven't recorded that long.
No.
Okay, cool.
We want to just throw shit at the wall, or we want to
Okay.
kind of break it down.
First of all, I'm ticked because
Oh, he's pissed.
no,
I'm
there
peeved
must
right
have
now.
unless okay, there must not have been much of crap for previews when I saw it because I only walked into the theater like maybe at most 10 minutes after the start time of the movie.
Oh yeah, I won't lie. When I walked in, the movie already started.
Yeah.
For me too.
Typical movie usually has about 20 minutes of bullshit trailers to go through. So I was like, okay, I can get my popcorn, or maybe I got nachos this time, and my drink. I have time. I go in, it's already started, and she's getting bitched out by her cop dad, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, so I missed the very, very beginning of when she's playing the drums, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walked in. Okay, I guess I didn't miss much then.
No,
that
no.
was because I literally walked in where she was
literally-
playing with her friends, and I was like, "It's already started." I was like, "What the fuck?"
It was a
Because
long
I always
intro,
try to get to
pretty much how it felt.
Motherfucker. So, yeah, I missed a ton of it then.
It was just a long intro is what it was like, pretty much. I mean, that's how I understood it.
I'm not.
Well, you also
And I feel like that's just
did you get
something
to
they
see?
do with
Did you get to
animated
see how she
movies.
lost her Peter?
No.
Oh yeah, so you missed that.
Yeah, I missed that. So I'm just like thrown into this, and just like her dad, that's the cop, the captain, is like, you know, we got to catch this Spider Woman chick. She killed Peter Parker, and I'm just like, okay, so that's all right. Like that's I've wondered if like her Peter died in her universe. Like I wondered if that was gonna reflect the whole typical other Spider-Men lose Gwen, so does Gwen lose Peter because she's the So no, I didn't get to see that. So okay, spoil it for me. How did he die? How did this all happen?
He basically, from what I gathered, it almost seemed like he almost was, I don't know, jealous. I don't know if it's the right term, or envious, but he wanted to be able to help like Spider-Gwen could. He basically turns himself into the lizard. He becomes a lizard.
That's right. Yeah.
Basically, it kills him. He I guess his formula was fucked up or something, and he turns into the lizard. And she I don't even know if she actually battles him. Actually, I think he just rains terror, and she shows up, and he's already disintegrated down to his normal self. And
Yeah,
he's just
because she was like laying there, and and she came in because she like picked him up.
And then that's when her dad walks in, and she sees that Peter's dead, and she is running away. It's like,
Okay.
You know.
Why'd she run from us then? Yeah.
the classic Raimi Spider-Man whole thing, where jumps out the window. Right.
Hey. All right then.
Hey.
So
Alright,
so
then.
I basically walked in after they have an argument, and then a vulture from someone else's
The Da Vinci.
And it
universe.
was so cool.
The Da Vinci universe was cool.
You're
Or
made
I
of
think
you're made of paper.
You're made of paper.
I wouldn't do that.
And then I wouldn't do that. Yeah, and she starts fighting him, and then fucking other Spider Woman shows up, pregnant on a motorcycle.
Well, that was the 2099 Spider-Man team. The late it's a 2000s run where Ben Reilly was Spider-Man,
Mhm.
Right.
and he was he was in the future, and he would.
Are you talking about
Ben Reilly-
brooding, depressed boy when he shows up later?
Yeah,
Ben-
when he comes in, it always does the.
Ben
It does the weird noise.
Ben
music.
Riley's Scarlet Spider.
That's
the
who that
run,
is, yeah.
the comic run. Yes, all those comic runs were in the late 2000s.
Yes, yeah, that was.
Or at least when they started, because 2099, people must love that character because they still have his run going. I mean, I walk into the comic shop I go to, and there's shit tons of them right there.
It's definitely, I've read them, but not a lot of them, a couple of them, but they're really, really kid comics, young person comics. It's not like not that all comics aren't kids stuff, but
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the old
some
Marvel,
aren't,
some of the old Marvel and DC stuff is not for children.
exactly. And so this is
Talking
this definitely is.
Dude, Marvel's actually in the history of Marvel's comics, it's fucking violent. Thanos literally rips James Rhodes' spine out. I mean,
that's what we talking about.
yeah, Marvel gets violent. What you see in the MCU's
Yeah.
very Disney-fied.
It's honestly, the MCU I feel like is based off a lot of their characters off the Ultimates run, but
Right.
they ain't nearly.
yeah,
what
but
the
it's
Ultimates
not.
did.
But when we were kids,
I'm still
we
waiting
ate
on
all
that.
shit up,
Apparently
so-
comes out the first issue of that. Speaking of the Ultimate Run,
Oh
that,
yes,
that
forgot that
comes
was coming
out.
back.
That comes out next month. Apparently, so
I am
that's one I'll
so
get into.
stoked for that.
Anyways,
we'll have to do reviews for that then.
yeah. Oh, we didn't.
That's-
We didn't do comic reviews. Anyways, whatever.
We can just tack that on at the end.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Or tack it
Or
on
in the
next
middle.
week, because we'll have tons of stuff
Do
to
it in
talk
the middle
about.
too.
Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
we can
So
have.
Spider-Verse, yeah, then they all show up to help because they're like, yeah, he's from a different universe, and she's, the Blue Panther.
Yeah.
God, God, she calls him some other shit that like
She just rattles off a couple.
she
more.
rattles him off fast, and I was fucking dying at him.
Same.
God damn it.
There's so much shit that happens in this movie that
There's a
I know,
lot.
and
we could sit
honestly,
here all night and talk about everything that happened. that's
right,
for
and
sure.
honestly, that I will admit, I actually walked out of it feeling how you kind of felt, Jay, but also kind of like sitting there like, I feel like I need to just immediately go watch that again.
Definitely.
Because I feel like it was so fast, like a lot of the parts that were like funny or like you were supposed to catch something, it went like that. And I was like, man, I feel like I need to go watch that again.
Definitely, I think, and like even with the Flash, that's similar. That I need to watch it again.
No, that's different. I want to watch that again.
Well, I want to watch both of them.
Yeah, that one more, and I'm
Well,
ready
more
to
so, sure.
nerd out about that when we get there. But this one, yeah. Then Miles in the spot, that was hilarious.
I like when he's like, ran out of spots. How convenient. That's so funny.
And then he spots like he goes into himself.
Yeah.
He's like, and that's how he gets into the multiverse, and it's so stupid. And
it's a paradox. It's so
right,
funny, dude.
It's a paradox. Yeah,
that's funny as hell.
I do like how they took him from being the villain of the week to where he actually is like an actual threat by the end of the movie. And you're like, oh, Spot fucked some shit up.
Yeah,
to destroy the multiverse. Yeah,
and I will say that like. When he's talking about how he's going through his origin of "you made me" and all that, and like he's talking about in the first movie, I'm like, man, maybe I should have watched the first one before I came and watched this because like I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't remember. There was quite a few things I didn't remember.
Yeah,
but
so I watched the clip. There's actually a clip you can see from the first movie of exactly what scientist it is that Spot, because when they're running out, I can't remember who is it, Miles that throws the bagel or something.
Yeah,
like, you can see it in the first one. Miles throws it back, and there's a scientist in the back behind these like two open doors, and it hits him in the head, and he falls down.
That's awesome.
That's
why you never know how important a bagel could be.
That's funny.
You hear about how mad
And Miles is trying to get all fresh up on Gwen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was tactful too. The only affection really was the head on the shoulder.
Yeah,
like that.
Well, and then we find out that she's like, oh, because she knew that in every other universe she dies.
Yeah, because that's when she falls
right,
in love with
Yeah.
Miles Morales. That's not good. Nothing good comes from it, I think is what she says.
Well, I think it was just nothing good ever comes from it when a Gwen Stacy would fall in love, because in every other universe, like, she doesn't have the powers and then she dies. So I think that's what was freaking her out, if I remember correctly.
Something like that. Because when Gwen Stacy falls in any other universe falls in love with the Spider-Man, it never ends well.
That's what she says.
Yeah.
It never ends well.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, and I don't know.
He said, "There's a first time for everything." Is what he's like. Yeah, first time for everything, and she's like kind of played it off a little bit. But yeah. Did you hear about all the people getting mad about the Middle Eastern Spider-Man?
Dude, that was the best part.
I thought so too, but
It's
apparently
hilarious.
the Middle East didn't think so.
Huh?
I thought so too. I thought it was dope. That
Well,
different
is the
world.
Middle East aware that there's been a comic run going on for almost 10 years of that specific character?
Are you talking about it not being ran in certain parts of that area?
Yeah, they banned it.
That's because there's a certain poster in the movie.
Oh, really? Okay, so I wasn't 100% sure of all the details behind it.
I don't know if that poster takes place during those scenes or if it's a different part in the movie, but there's a poster in the movie that
set him off.
Yeah.
Does it depict a certain deity that you're not supposed to ever depict?
That's what I was thinking.
No,
first.
it's basically like it's a poster that supports trans rights, and obviously that's like
that's a big no-no.
So that's
you don't do that. That's bad.
It's illegal over there. So yeah,
you get stoned for that shit.
It's not allowed to run over there anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about all the details on that.
Okay.
Because I thought initially when I saw it, I went, oh, like I kind of like side-eyed the screen. I was like, they're doing this, huh? They're doing it on TV where everybody can see. That's kind of what my thought was.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
None of them.
Yeah, that's wow. Did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing either.
Back to the movie again. Really enjoyed that part actually. Like
Yeah.
the spider.
I like how it was
India.
kind of shot
It's
like
dope.
a Bollywood
Yeah.
or animated like a
So
Bollywood
fucking
movie.
funny. Yeah. I like how when he's going through it all and he's like, I'm in love with this girl, and and I am definitely not sitting dangerously close to your daughter.
Yeah.
He says something along those lines, and I was cracking up his whole part.
He was.
I'll come into your country and ask you for a coffee, huh? For some sugar, and then bro, did you just say chai tea?
Yeah.
Chai means tea.
See me ask for a coffee.
I did like how that was kind of a running gag in the movie. It's like, why are you saying ATM machine? The M in the ATM is machine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, the M means machine. He's like,
It's so good.
God, that was a running gag. You're right.
That's why it is actually funny when he does go to there, and now Miles gets corrected for doubling up on it because he was the one that corrected the guy earlier.
Coming full circle to him. Yeah, funnier than hell.
Yeah, well, I guess back to what I was talking about earlier, like the Gwen Stacy animation. What I really liked about it is it very much conveyed like the coloring and almost the ink blot styles of it, which is also very reminiscent of like the original artist covers of her when she first came out, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But
It was like
it also conveys like her emotion in the scene, like when she's talking to her dad. Like one thing I really adored about this movie is finally that somebody got it right. I can't remember if they did in the first movie. If they did, sorry that I forgot. But they got it right again in this movie. Finally, we have actual comic panels and even text boxes.
I know.
Not in this world. The text boxes are in Miles' world, I think. But
Yeah.
we actually had like the different like panels come in, and like in the one scene with her dad. I think it's towards the beginning. Yeah, it's towards the beginning. It's like very blue and just kind of dark and because it's obviously not a fun conversation. But then the very end when they're like split and all of a sudden she's over there and gives him a hug, it like brights up and turns like orange and yellow and warm colors. So all she wants is just her dad not to hate Spider-Gwen. Just another.
And he did.
And just forget about Peter Parker's death and just
and he did until he didn't have
move
a choice.
on.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Peter Parker ends up being alive with a kid.
Well, that's from a different universe.
Well, that's the other.
right,
That's
well,
from
right.
the first one.
Yeah, from the first one.
Well,
Remember
right.
the Peter B. Parker that was a loser.
Oh, okay.
So like the end of the first one, he goes back to his universe and he kind of got his not his ego, but like he got his confidence back after training Miles and like
that's right.
kind of refinding the meaning to be Spider-Man, because the idea of Peter, and I love that actor. He's from New Girl. The whole point of him was obviously he's an older Spider-Man it's like Affleck's Batman. He'd been doing it for like 20 years. He's kind of just broken and beaten and he's alone. And he's just he was like, they make fun of it in the first one. Like it shows him he's like this in the shower. Like I think in the costume,
Yeah.
he's like this in the shower and shit. And like, he's beaten down. So like that one, that's him. He like went back to his universe, got back with MJ, and then they have the kid.
Spider Kid.
Mayday.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So like that's like who that was. So yeah, different universe. So to that, I was very confused. So Miguel, who becomes the 2099 Spider-Man in his universe, he finds a universe where he doesn't. He gets rid of his other self in that universe to then live out with his family, but it causes the incursion. Notice how they use that word from Doctor Strange. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed. See what you're doing.
Also calls out
Brave New World.
Spider-Man and Doctor Strange from Earth, whatever.
Yeah, he labels it some long ass number, and that's where people are like, "Oh, so MCU isn't 616," and it's like, it fucking is 616. Like, the fuck, yeah.
I kind of wish they'd
just left that alone. I do. Like,
I kind of wish they did too, because now it's going to confuse some people. But the way I just think about it is, it's like, okay, yeah, like It's still 616, but it's like in this universe when they find out there's a multiverse, they could label each one's different
Right.
numbers and what
Like
we
that's
go over in
his
this
numbering.
one.
Right. That's
Like,
Miguel's.
That's all it
That's
can be.
Miguel's numbering. Miguel numbered it 1,000 or 1,000,009, whatever the hell he did.
Yeah, whatever, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what was confusing me, so he causes the incursion that causes that universe to be wiped out completely. And it made it, he's like, isn't that right? And he turns the Peter B. Parker and he says, isn't that right, Peter? And he's like, yeah. So it's almost like weird that he wiped out that one's universe, is how I took it. But it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, though, because he still has his own universe to go to. So I don't know if that was just maybe a different one, a different Peter B. Parker universe.
Yeah, I don't.
Hard.
It was
say.
very,
No,
that
because
one part, I was like, that's very hard to follow. I don't get like really what was going on there.
I just took
There's
it
quite a
as
bit
it
to
was just.
follow.
I didn't have like a connected link that it was like Peter B. Parker's universe that he went to. But maybe I just missed that. I don't know.
Well, or I'm just misunderstanding the scene, which is very
It's
possible.
very easy to do in this movie because there's so
Yeah.
much shit that goes down
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, when they're in the area with all the different Spider-Men, that was cool.
Yeah.
Like the
So
Scarlet, the
many
Ben Reilly
references.
Scarlet Spider,
That's it. Yeah.
and the fact it's Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking
Awesome.
hilarious. He's just, I'm depressed. Against the wall. I was dying laughing. Oh, and then we got the Iron Spider, the all
yeah.
red from like the Civil War comic run era
Mhm.
with the golden arms. I was like, hell yes, that's sweet.
The PlayStation Spider-Man showed up at one point.
Yep.
There's literally hundreds of.
I mean,
thousands
yeah,
in
some
there.
of them are like completely, they just made them out of thin air. But yeah, there were.
Noir Spider-Man was in there. He made a couple appearances. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Superior Spider-Man. I saw him
Superior
back
was-
there. One of my personal favorites.
People
Spider-Mans,
were-
actually, which a lot of people hated when that run first started, and I was like, this is actually kind of dope.
Yeah, Superior Spider-Man.
Please don't
was
cancel
there.
this.
Yeah. I didn't like how they had not the original 90s cartoon Spider-Man, but they had the sequel of when like that Spider-Man gets thrown into the future,
Yeah.
and it's like Spider-Man Unlimited or something is what the show's called. I can't remember. But it's like he gets the futuristic suit and like he's in the future. That one was in there, and I was like, well, why is he making the appearance and then you don't have the other one making the appearance? I mean, I guess, yeah, it's the same character, but I
Why
don't
that
know.
version of that character?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, you have all this opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, shit. They
Well, didn't
rang
the
that reg out.
didn't
rag
the
out
animated
everything
one
else.
come up in the end? Isn't he the one that
Oh.
like swung towards the screen and almost like froze up because his frame rates are too slow?
No,
Yeah.
I thought that was from the, like an old video game one or something.
Oh, maybe.
I don't
It
know.
could've been. It
I love
could've
too
been.
that the Lego one was in there. Too.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was amazing. The Lego
Oh,
Earth. That was so dope. I love
and
that.
then fucking God is the what's his name? Shit. Justice League.
Oh my god, it makes so much sense that they went to the Lego world too. Because Lord and Miller did this, right?
I think so.
They did the Lego movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
So much
Hell
sense they
yeah.
would go.
J.K. Simmons. I love how
He's the one constant.
He's the like one constant. He's the commission. Or not commissioner, but he's Jonah in the Lego, and he's just talking. He's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh my god!" Of course they had
So
him.
good. So good.
And Jesus, so funny. Just catch Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Like, the whole theater erupted in laughter when I saw that.
That's
Like that. Then they recreated that meme. I was like, that is fucking awesome,
Dude, they bring that. They're gonna bring that and beat it to death. I swear.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
I love
was
it.
awesome.
I love it. I love it.
God, I loved it too.
The No Way Home already was the OG. That's the OG
Yeah.
live action.
Loved the character. Hated at times about how you literally couldn't fucking understand him, but Spider-Punk.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
literally couldn't understand him.
I know.
So
I mean, I at least I couldn't.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was
had
like, what the fuck is he saying?
I listened to a lot of punk, so I kind of picked up what he was putting down. Most of the time.
I do love like how like when Miles was making the big speech and he's just sitting there in the background. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. It's like hyping him up. He's like, yeah, give it to him. And I was just sitting there like, this character is awesome.
I love it, the
So,
Liberty Hawk. It's just so awesome.
Am I remembering right? Was there like news that came out that they had like basically re-audio dubbed this movie for theaters recently? Like they had upgraded it or whatever?
Well, maybe I do need to see it again then, just for that.
I don't know if it'll help because I went again on Wednesday and.
Oh, you have seen it twice?
No, I don't know why I said again. I just went and saw it Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. I literally have no idea. I haven't heard that.
But it was like granted, I don't know if you guys saw it in IMAX, if there even is IMAX for it. I just saw it in a regular theater.
I saw it.
But the audio, even from like the get go when it started, I was like, why does it seem so quiet? So I don't know if that was just a theater or
I
what.
saw it in IMAX and
I saw it on my TV. Don't ask no questions.
We're all gonna get letters in the mail now.
Hey, shit!
What
my equipment?
That's how it works. Bro.
Come get me, bro. Come get me.
So yeah, they escape. I'm trying to even remember dude. Watching these two movies like back to back nights is so rough. I'm trying to remember what like happened at all. There's just so much.
Can't believe
shit.
you did that. I saw this. I saw Across like last week.
Yeah, I saw this shit Tuesday. That Tuesday we were talking.
Yeah.
I saw it that Tuesday and then Thursday Flash, and oh my god, it's like everything's just. It's been one giant movie this week.
I do like how they balance the line with 2099. How he kind of plays like a villainish role, but he's not really a villain. Like it's just more strict rules, man. This is time.
Wait,
It's like he slows down. And
it's
becomes
like
a
he
good
has
guy.
an order of Spider-Man, and they're political and shitty in the end, and like maybe just saying this Brutus character should just go in and fuck them all up.
Fuck them all up.
Wait, sorry, that's something else. My bad, guys.
My bad.
That's literally what it is. Like I just sat there and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the Jedi Order, literally. Like he's doing everything for the greater good, but yet honestly they're in the wrong. Like kinda. I mean, I get it because the
narrow
whole
dogmatic view of the Spider-Man.
right. I mean, I guess like he said though, you know, they're talking about like he's like a canon event. He's like honestly the fact it's labeled that is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Awesome.
Using real world.
I love it.
I liked it a lot.
Hilarious to me.
The term canon is now canon. Let's
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Might be my favorite thing about this movie.
Yeah, when they're
actually.
talking about like absolutes across every, he's like, this always happens to a spider person, like losing the captain, losing the uncle, and it's like kind of like, oh yeah, I guess yeah, like Miles, he does lose his uncle, yeah, and then he's like, you know, that's what sets him off. He's like, wait, so I'm gonna lose my dad too, and you know, he's not happy about that.
Yeah.
Which does, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So Miles is always supposed to lose. Granted, I guess he's kind of an anomaly in the first place, but
I was
he's
gonna
supposed
say,
to lose
that's
his uncle
the-
and his dad because in my head I was like, well,
Yeah.
wouldn't the uncle take the place of the father then? Because
Well, no, because his uncle died in the first movie. It was the Prowler.
well, right. But if we're going as far as like Spider-Man tragedies that need to happen, it's like so Miles has to lose his uncle and his dad, not just one of them, because in the one that he ends up in, the uncle's still alive, but the dad's dead.
Right. Remember though, the uncle's still alive because so like Miguel said to him, he's like, "You're the original anomaly." He's like, "Your universe, like, because of the spot." He's
Well, I know.
"Your
Like I said,
universe
it's
caused-"
probably just because he's the anomaly. But
Yeah, he's like, "Your universe caused the spider to come over and bite you." He's like, "So that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man," and he's like, and then you're the reason that you even became a Spider-Man or something like that. And he's like, you're the reason that your universe of Spider-Man died, saving you. And like Miguel basically reveals like he doesn't really like you at all because you are kind of the reason everything is fucked up.
Yeah.
And so like that's the thing. It's like so for him, like it still became a canon thing that he lost his uncle, and then he's gonna lose the police captain that just so happens to be his dad. And then in the other universe, he just like there's no Spider-Man, and pretty much like we don't know how his dad died in that one, but then obviously ultimately as we know who the Prowler is. Childish Gambino was hilarious.
I love
and was
cameo.
that supposed to be like the MCU?
I hope so.
Like
because he does show up in.
He's in Holland's the first one. Yeah.
And he even makes a reference about something about his nephew in that movie too.
He does. He says he's like. Wait, is he the one? Is it in Holland's where he? Is it? Am I thinking it correctly? Where he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Oh, I just kind of wish you would be black."
Yeah,
yeah, okay, it is that. I was like, I can't remember this right. I'm pretty sure that he says, "I just wish you were gonna be black," and then he makes the comment about his nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that honestly for me was super cool because like, oh shit, I was like, does that mean? Will he show up eventually as Prowler? Which I think I'm hearing rumors now that.
Well, maybe the new Holland movie, the Spider-Man 4.
I've heard that there might even be a Prowler movie because Gambino was cast to play as the disco dancing villain or whatever. But I guess that got scrapped. But I've been hearing he's going to be like Prowler now.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh
shit! My bad.
But yeah, I thought that was super cool that he popped up, and we started it. I think we've kind of theorized that like maybe this Miles will eventually end up in live action. Well, granted, it doesn't necessarily line up with this being his Prowler then, but we saw that line get blurred in this movie. It's like we got some live action here with the animation. How far are we willing to go?
It was cool when he's like every Spider-Man loses the captain, and it shows the scene from Garfield's, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, there it is! I was like, there it is! You crossed it. Line crossed. I was like, here we go. Then.
Part 2, you'll see a live action Miles Morales.
Right, I was going to say, we're going to get him live action.
That'll be the introduction.
Hopefully sometime in the MCU. Or like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Right.
God, I popped so hard when Andrew Garfield.
Of course I do. I know, they're doing that pan with all their faces and shit. I was like, oh, that's fucking so cool.
But yeah. And then like with the uncle dying, they showed Toby, and I was like, all right, thank you.
There's our other boy.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, thank you.
There's our OG that walked so.
It is fun. Right. Well, it is funny how, like, I guess since this one is only a Sony property, that's why, like, Holland's wasn't shown. Because I bet Disney was like, no, you can't fucking do that.
Yeah. Like, this is our Spider-Man.
Like the Donald Glover one, that's ambiguous. They didn't outright say it's from the it's the MCU one, but we're just going to sit here and think so.
Right.
Just because that's the only other time we've seen him.
But technically, Toby and Andrew are canon to the MCU now.
That's true. Disney says, we're going to use your shit, but don't you dare use
yeah. That's how deals with them works.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why it took them forever to even get Spider-Man to use their shit back from Sony, because they're just assholes about it.
Yeah. We appreciate it, but we're going to be total dicks about it the whole way.
Yeah. But again, so breakneck speed, then, yeah, you just get all the way to the end. There's the twist where he's like, oh yeah, the portal that was supposed to send me to my universe read my DNA wrong because I got bit by a spider from a different universe.
Which I
really didn't see it coming. I was
I did, just because on the machine when he gets in, it literally says,
oh, did it?
Earth
So
42, and I was like, well, that's not it. Which I gotta say, I love how they 42 shows up constantly in these movies, and it's because they're referencing Jackie Robinson. I think it was really cool that the Earth that he ends up going to is 42 because it literally shows up everywhere in the movies.
Nice.
So I just think it's cool that they keep paying homage to that. But it wasn't a twist for me because literally when he goes into it, the machine shows Earth, or I can't remember if it says Earth 42 or whatever, but it shows 42, and I was like, huh?
Right.
And plus in the beginning, 42 shows up in these movies, but they threw it in your face from the very beginning with the spider with the 42 on it, which granted, I guess may have been in the first one, and maybe I didn't catch it that it was already marked 42.
But yeah, they were throwing the number in your face like right,
so I was like, well, I'm gonna keep that in mind, I guess. Like, I don't know why they're so in your face about it, unless they're just really in your face about it this time. But then, when that showed up, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
And then, when he shows up and he starts talking to his mom, I'm just like,
she's like, okay.
I'm like, something's really, this isn't right. This isn't right.
Yeah.
I won't lie though, when his uncle showed up, I almost took that. I was like, "Oh, his uncle's fucking the mom now."
That's how I took it.
No, apparently that was not what the case was.
No, that was not what the case was.
But I was like, this movie just took a turn. It got real quick.
Right. Then he's just like trying to plead with him. He's like, "Dude, just let me go. I'm in the wrong universe, I swear." And he's like, "Where I come from, my dad's alive. You're dead because you were the Prowler." And then when like the uncle was like, "I'm not the Prowler," I was like, what's going on? Then and then himself is the Prowler. He's like, "I'm Miles Morales."
With the braids he was missing.
Yeah, with the braids he was missing. Yeah.
Cut your braids off?
Yeah. I took that I took that as nothing. And then it gets to the end and he's just braids. I'm like, oh.
Apparently I saw like a still shot of like apparently in one of those stills of like the pass of like the spider getting out from 42, it shows like apparently the back of that Earth 42's Miles, like you can see like the two dreads that are coming out in the back of his head, and I was like, well, I guess they planned this shit out pretty damn well, didn't they?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
there it is.
And here is rolling up the end. We will see you on the other side.
Where were we?
Honestly, I think we were about, coming back to it. I mean, we were pretty much, I think, about to the done part of. I was kind of ready to wrap it up and get on with the Flash.
I guess
we've been going for a hot minute here. And...
I guess the last thing I will say, I guess I'm slightly incorrect about there not being a full arc in this movie. I guess this kind of is more Gwen's movie than Miles' movie. Because she has a full arc in this movie. Now that I'm like reflecting and thinking about it, I'm like, well, actually, technically, Gwen has a full arc in this movie.
And apparently, we're going to see...
it starts with Gwen.
Yeah, and we're going to see more versions of her in the next one. And they came out and said how these movies are actually supposed to really serve her as, like, I guess being part of, like, it's like a dual protagonist type thing.
It's supposed to serve her as much as it is Miles, essentially.
I think so.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess like I said,
you are right.
For me, it was
just
ignorance.
She does like kind of go through her whole arc.
For me, like I said, it's my fault that I kind of felt the way that I did coming out of the movie.
Oh, it's mine too.
Pure ignorance that I just didn't realize it was going to be a part 1, part 2 situation. Because
totally
when it ended, I was like, the fuck?
Right.
Like, especially like for me, and probably it's because I was about to see Flash the very next day, and it seemed like there's some similar parallels here. Just instead of the mom, it's the dad. I was expecting that to get brought up at some point in this movie. So then when it just ended and they didn't really necessarily touch on that, other than that when he went in that world, his dad's dead, but not his actual dad. That's like I think another reason why, the main reason why I was so salty when it ended when it did. I was just like, but we set up this thing and
right,
now I gotta wait.
Right.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Granted, I also found out slightly after that I only have to wait a year, which isn't bad. So I was like, okay, all right.
And
so like I said,
kind of refreshing though.
A little sour, a little salty initially when I walked out, but I do feel like the way they've been hitting these first two movies, by the time that third one comes out, especially watching these two back to back, I think all three will go together pretty well. I don't necessarily... I get what you mean by the Matrix. Similarly, I don't think it's going to be like that, though, because even this one plays off the first movie and what happened in the first movie. So they all still... Well, I guess the Matrix do, too, but I get what you were saying. Yeah. But I'll also let you know that when I watched Reloaded, the second one, it was shitty on the first watch. I didn't feel like that on this one. Just wasn't a fan of how abruptly it ended, but...
That is true. Like, yeah.
It's refreshing though to actually have a cliffhanger for once. I feel like they don't exist.
Yeah,
anymore.
you know what? I shouldn't, especially when you know they're not going to Netflix it and cancel it.
Right.
Probably should actually, like you said, you don't get it too much, and yeah, it is kind of nice to, other than relying on post-credit scenes to kind of give you that tease for the next thing. It is kind of nice to have a project end. It's like, oh, I can't wait for the next one now.
In the world of spoilers, it's good to have a cliffhanger, something to actually question and think about for the next movie. You know.
So I think I'm at an 8.5, but I do think with time that's probably going to go up, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I agree. About 8.5. 8.5 sounds pretty good. I
8.
like that.
I'm right.
I'm
at 8.5
right
as well.
there. Like I said, I feel like audiences kind of overhyped this one.
That I think I was a victim of as well, and usually I'm pretty good at tempering my expectations when I go into it. But especially coming off the first one, and people were saying it. Especially like,
how,
you know, me, the DC fan, people, you know, we got the hype of, oh, it's the greatest comic book, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. And then I hear people coming out and just being like, it's not even better than Across the Spider-Verse that came out a week or two before it. What do you mean? And I was like, I was getting like that type of hype from this movie. So then I went in and it is what it is. I didn't quite feel this. I'll be honest, I actually don't agree with that statement. I actually think I do prefer The Flash over this movie. And you can DC shill, whatever. I wish they'd pay me. Put up with this shit for the past decade plus.
Wait, you're saying you do prefer The Flash over this movie?
For now. We'll see after.
Yeah, now do as well.
We'll see after the third installment comes out if that changes or not. I feel like it might. If they're hitting as strong as they have the first two. I just love that animation team so much too.
So good.
Honestly, the story could honestly be kind of whatever, and I'd probably still pay money to see these movies if the animation is the quality that it is.
Yeah.
I think they're just setting a whole new standard for animation, honestly. I think it's just really beautiful to see that it's just so unique and different from anything else. It's just so refreshing.
I think that's why I like it so much. I mean, that's the very main reason why I like it so much. It's so different. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, looking forward to the third one. Just slightly pissed at him because of my ignorance. It's your fault I'm dumb. No, not dumb, ignorant. They're two different things. I'm also dumb.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? You want to do the comic book review first, or you want to do the Flash review first? Although I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be a little hazy on All-Star. You're going to have to refresh me on some things since it's been a few weeks since I...
Well, I mean, really the only thing I was just going to... We can do it real quick on the comics. So Superman, All-Star Superman, like you said. I mean, since Gunn's title is Superman Legacy, that comic run is legitimately about Superman leaving behind a legacy.
Yeah.
And then I think that the way that it's going to kind of tie in is, so in this comics, spoilers, is essentially Superman is dying because he's been over-radiated from the sun. I don't know if I'm in the shot. So what's interesting is how I saw that it's rumored that the authorities the live-action authority, are going to make their appearance in the Superman Legacy movie. That would make sense because if it's based off the All-Star Run comic, part of the legacy being left behind is that eventually they're trying to basically clone Superman. So it's like the idea is they're trying to man-make superheroes, the boys. So that's the whole point of it, of where it ends. Because essentially how the whole run ends is that Superman has to fly into the sun because Luthor made a deal with some planetary being that then double-crossed him, and it caused the sun to burn blue or something, so it's going to destroy humanity, so Superman has to go in and explode it back into a yellow star. It's been about a week and a half since I finished it, so it's a little hazy for me as well. The Bizarro world was funny.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's a Bizarro world. So it's like basically this Bizarro planet imitates Earth and organically makes Bizarro versions of people from Earth. But there's a unicorn that he's Zibaro, and he's like Bizarro of Superman. So there's a Bizarro Superman and a Zibaro. And the Zibaro one is highly intelligent, and he begs Kal-El. He begs him to go with him back to real Earth because he's like because on the Bizarro world, they're all idiots and they speak in opposites.
They speak completely like backwards.
It was actually kind of hard to read that.
It's really difficult to read.
It was kind of like you had to sit there and really like carefully read it to really know, okay, this is what they're actually saying. Like he's like, wait, in Superman, like again, the All-Star run kind of actually plays to how genius like Kal-El really is, and like he's like, wait, I've got it. And he's like, no help, Superman. No help, build rocket. And then so like all of them start helping him build this rocket. Because first he just straight asks them normally. And they're like, okay, whatever. Like, because they're taking it as like the opposite of don't help him. So when he says no help, they're like, that means help. It's like I said, it's a difficult read.
Opposite day every day.
Yeah, basically it's Bizarro. It's the Bizarro.
And then there's obviously not Jor-El. What is his name? Lazad, right? Or Lazor. It's like it's Zor-El as dad, but it's backwards. They spell it backwards, and it's something stupid like that. And I was like, Jesus, like laughing about it. And he's like the scientist on the Bizarro planet that's highly like Bizarro. Yeah. But again, it's just funny because the whole time Zibaro is like the intelligent one, and he's begging him, like, please let me go with you. And
he feels like so alone.
And he feels alone. Yeah. He's like, do you have any idea what it's like to feel alone? And like Cal's like, yeah, I do actually. I'm literally the only person on my planet that's like me. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so it's a really good read. It's 12 issues. I mean, it's a really good read. The Luthor, and it's a different, he's like a psychomaniac type Luthor in this one.
A little bit.
Yeah. Were you gonna add it all to it?
Honestly, I'm just trying to even remember how it ended. I binge reread that all in one day, and I'm like, how does this end again?
And he has and I think we told you like one of Superman's new powers from this over-radiation is that he can Palpatine lightning people.
Yeah.
And he does it like multiple times in the run. Like he does it a couple times.
Hell yeah.
Because he has to fight something, and he's like, why don't you take one of my new powers? And it like shows him like flinging it forward because he has to like do it with his body. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What run is this?
It's called All-Star Superman.
All-Star Superman. Okay.
I'm trying to think. Why can I not remember how it ends?
Like I said, it ends with like he stops like some alien entity thing that's like out in space. And then he then has to like he has to fly into the sun for some reason.
I just can't remember. Does he live or die? I actually can't remember if he lives.
Well,
or
they
leave. Ambiguous.
It's ambiguous.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember.
They think he's dead, but that shows a panel of like he's like working in the middle of the sun trying to repair it.
Oh yeah.
There's like the one weird issue too where it's like it's not Zod, but it's other Kryptonians that they land there something on Earth. Basically like there's actually a time skip of when he was on the Bizarro world, and then like he's coming back to Earth on a rocket.
Okay.
So because like he's losing his powers, so he can't. Because on the Bizarro world, like it's like he's getting further and further away from the yellow rays of the sun, so he's only getting the red rays, so he's losing his powers, so he can't fly through space back to Earth.
That's right. I know you told me that. I remember that. You told me that last time. I remember that for sure.
So they shoot him on a rocket back, and then it's like takes him like 2 months. So when he gets back, like these other Kryptonians were like there, and like they remodel his Fortress of Solitude, and then like they beat the shit out of him, and like they
They do.
they throw him so hard into the moon it cracks it in half.
Jesus.
So then he's like, "Look what you did, you idiots!" Like pow, and they're like, "Oh, we'll fix it," and they like take like the Golden Gate Bridge and all these bridges and like cram them into the moon to hold it together.
Stitch worked the moon.
Yeah, Stitch worked the moon. It's so like ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
There's another moment too, like you said, how like he's Clark and he acts clumsy to save the old man in the street.
Oh yeah,
he does it again when he's like in Rikers, or not Rikers, but whatever it is, the prison where Luther's at. He does the same thing if you catch it when you're reading it. He's Clark and he clumsily does something that ends up saving Luther's life. Like, yeah, so that's in there a second time. That was pretty good.
Yeah, especially like reading that and Woman of Tomorrow back to back.
Oh yeah.
It was, well, one, my brain was mush, but then two, yeah, like makes me a little nervous for the Supergirl movie if it's taking heavy inspiration. Hopefully, it's just like slight inspiration.
I hope it's slight inspiration. But we already talked about that last time.
We did, but yeah, I love All Star Superman. It's a great run.
Yeah,
you should definitely check it out and see what you think.
Yeah, I think I will.
Did you read Earth 1? Green Lantern Earth?
No, I was gonna wait to read it this week so that it was all fresh for when we review it next week. So yeah, next week will be. Do you want to do Volume 1 next week and then Volume 2 the next week?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get Volume 2. Since it's ultra only on digital.
Yeah, I've just bought both. I've read through both, and I will say I like it a lot.
Really?
It's a very different like whole origin for not even just Hal Jordan, just in the entirety. It's very different from traditional Green Lantern.
Cool.
And honestly, the fact that the show is gonna maybe, I don't know, if the show is truly gonna adapt it or however draw inspiration, I have really high hopes, and honestly, reading it does make sense how the show's gonna be like a true detective type mystery thing. Like, because with the way that the story unfolds for volumes 1 and 2, I can see how they could set it all up to do this. So if it's truly like that style of a drama with this story, I think it's gonna be. It has the potential to be really, really good. So yeah, I'm kind of I think when you read both volumes, you'll see what I mean. The first volume, it kind of speaks to that, but the second volume, when you kind of piece together what's actually going on, it's a little like you kind of can piece it together of what's going on, but you're like reading it as like the heroes are trying to figure it out and stuff. But very, very different than traditional Green Lantern origin and how it usually is.
Good, because that's what I like about the Earth 1 graphic novels. I've only read only the first volumes of the Superman and the Batman one. I really enjoyed both of those. I love different adaptations of these great heroes. That's what I think is great about comics. That's why I don't understand why people get so offended when there's a different adaptation in movie or TV form. Blows my mind. Some people just want one version only. But
everybody wants their favorite version. Everybody wants their favorite.
Well, I think it's more just everyone wants the most popular version that's been done 50 million times when the comics get reran or like. Okay, so the other things I'm reading is The Dawn of DC, and I thought it was like a reboot. It's not really a reboot. It's just a jumping in point. So that's like kind of why I am like into kind of now going to be more into reading the DC comics, because it's a clear jump on point. Whereas Marvel, you literally have to go and read like from like in this current run, you have to go all the way back to number 1. Like, and even the guys that I go to at the comic shop say, like, Marvel does not really do a great job of, like, you can just kind of jump right in. They're like, unfortunately, like, you literally have to go back and, like, read all this crap to really understand reference points. Whereas with DC, it's overall, it comes down to the writing, I think, of the comics, and it just sounds like DC, like, just has better writers.
They do.
Yeah.
At least they did. I don't know if they still do currently.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
not so
it seems to
caught
be,
up in the new
I
stuff.
mean, that seems, these guys that work at this shop, like, they look like they're a bit younger, so, like, they're kind of, I would take it that they probably still do.
I'll say one thing that always like frustrated me, especially with Marvel, around with like the new 52 era for DC. So we're talking around like a little after 2010ish. Thing that really, really always annoyed me about Marvel is anytime they ever had an event that they build up to this event, and then the event happens, no real payoff. It just is another build up to another event down the road, and it's just like, you guys suck. Like, there's no consequences to any of your guys' shit. It's like 1 out of every 3 events, finally something pops off that's like somewhat worth talking about, even though we probably didn't like it anyway. So, whatever.
So the Dawn of DC stuff's kind of cool. The Superman run is interesting. Spoilers. Obviously it's a jumping on point. So like at this point, like Luthor's in jail. He turns LexCorp into SuperCorp and is trying to use Mercy and everyone that works for him as like, I want to help you, Superman. I want to do good. Like, because like the whole idea of this run is so far is that he's like, he basically tells Superman, he's like, look, I'm not trying to help you and to double cross you. He's like, you've dealt with all your enemies. He tells him, you have to deal with my enemies now. And then, like, it does this flashback shit, which who knows how, like, if it's going to end up being a twist that he was lying. They're basically canonizing the whole young Lex Luthor had a lot of luscious hair.
Good.
And, shut the fuck up.
Better been red, too.
Yeah, it was. And Eisenberg's can fuck off.
No, because that, and originally
like,
in the comics, he has long red hair.
But, like, he's,
That's why he's the GOAT!
But like, and then like it shows like how he's young and in Metropolis, and he's like in this body suit, and he's basically trying to be a in broad daylight Batman, and he's trying to like fight these criminals, and it's like the whole idea of it is Luthor is telling Superman that like, you're dealing with my enemies from my past now. And like the first couple issues is like this mutated version of Parasite, like instead of Parasite just being this dude who gathers the energy around him, like he does that, but then he also multiplies like crazy, and he basically causes a zombie apocalypse within Metropolis. It's a pretty interesting episode, so they have to figure out all that shit, and it's pretty interesting so far.
That sounds like a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah.
Parasite that can multiply.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was like the first. That was like issues 3 and 4, I want to say, or maybe it was 2 and 3. Because then because number 4 is called like the Kryptonite Claw, and it's like this big claw that has like all different shades of kryptonite on it that this scientist got, and like it's a team of scientists. Go figure. Yeah. Anyways, it seems pretty sweet so far. The Batman one is interesting. Oh, and what's cool is like in both Superman, so like the Parasite one, like it shows one panel, and it's like the whole super family is in this universe. So like Kara and his sons, now not the other,
John Kent.
The John Kent Dawn of DC run, I think, is its own separate thing. I don't know. I haven't went and read it, but he is not in this Superman. Like, because again, this panel shows like all of them. It shows Crypto, Kara, John, like a different John. Like this John
has. Is he Electricity?
Huh?
Has he got the electricity suit?
No, he's like wearing a suit, but then he also has like a freaking leather jacket over it.
Oh, that's the old Superboy.
That's the other
With
thing.
the glasses or goggles,
I don't
right?
think so.
Maybe not. Bowl cut. Because the most recent John Kent, they basically turned him into the.
Okay, right here. I'm a little wrong. So it shows. So this is Superboy here, but then this is his John Kent and his universe, and then that's Kara, and then there's these. Like again, it shows all of them in like one panel, and I'm like, who the hell are these people? And I'm like, yeah, right here.
They've added quite a bit to the family recently.
So like it's a bigger family. And then even in Dawn of DC for Batman, Batman gets out of like this coma because essentially the idea of this is Batman had to go to a universe that didn't have a Batman, and the Joker never became the Joker, but he became this other type of weird supervillain. And
Batman Who Laughs, is that what that
No, it's like this red. It's not Red Hood, but he's like dressed in an all red suit, and I don't know. I gotta read it because the run is specific. The story is specifically like Batman number, like it's 130 in the current run. The legacy issue number is like something fucking crazy, like 890 something. But because they started slapping legacy numbers, so like of total Batman comic, this is the number, and it's like the Dawn of DC one is 900. It's like, yeah, holy shit. But it's like, and I remember the accountant and me did the math, and I'm like, been around for like 70 years, issue a month. I'm like, yeah, that checks out. I'm like, yeah, you know. But even in the Batman one, like it gets to a panel where, like, he gets in his dining room, and it's the entire Bat family, and it's like 20 fucking characters. It's Nightwing, Barbara, Tim, Jason is there. Tim's girlfriend, because Tim dates.
Is he dating Stephanie?
Stephanie, who is that? That's
Stephanie Brown. She used to be Robin for a little bit, and then she turned into Spoiler because her dad is a villain too, and
and then Batwing is there. Fox's son Batwing is there. Damian is there. So yeah,
there's a lot to the Bat family.
There's a lot to the Bat family.
That's what I've heard.
Could probably get even be more juicy if you bring in Batman Incorporated, where we go international with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who's the assassin girl?
Which one? Talia al Ghul?
Not Talia. No. Different assassin's daughter. I just watched Young Justice, and they have this character. She doesn't talk. She's a mute, but she's like a she's like a trained assassin. I can't remember her name. But she's in there. But yeah, so like like I said, it's a jumping on point. And then the Green Lantern one is weird. It starts out, and it seems like Hal wants to not be Green Lantern anymore.
Classic.
And he says that he's given his ring up, but he still has his ring, and he still is like running around as Green Lantern. I don't know. Again, issue number 2 came out this past week, but I just haven't went and picked it up yet. This has kind of really gone on. That's my bad.
I got stuff to look forward to read then. I just don't know how much of Dawn of DC is available on digital yet.
I think like the first issues for some, but not all, because like it's just now all starting to come out, and like, so I know that Cyborg has a run, and then Titans has a run, and then Nightwing has a solo run for it. So there's Nightwing standalone, but then there's Titans, which Nightwing is going to be in, so those are probably going to reference each other a ton. I haven't chosen not to. I'll admit, like you said, it gets to be an expensive hobby when you want to stay up to date on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to lie. Like, I read the Shazam one too. The Shazam Dawn of DC first one. But I read that using Infinite. Like, because again, it gets to be expensive, and it's like a lot of it. Okay, I'm gonna wait, but like Superman, Batman, and Green Lantern, like my 3 favorites, I'm not gonna wait. I'll spend the $15 a month just to get the new issue.
Yeah.
And and I might do it for Power Girl is gonna get her own run for this, and I think I'll probably get hers as well. But all the others, I'm like, I can wait and just be behind by a few months.
Yeah,
because I think you gotta. I think you gotta wait like 3 months, don't you?
For the new
3 months for the normal, and I think a month if you have the ultra.
Not paying $80 a year just to have ultra for that. Which really,
plus
really I
bonuses.
should. Well, really I should because
You'd save money.
Well, because I am. Well, my subscription is the
Like Mr. Krabs says, money.
I think. Well, and I think my subscription is the monthly. That's $8 a month. So yeah, I mean, I should just pay for it, but whatever. I'll contemplate that down the road. All right.
tomorrow.
That's for future. That's for future KP to worry about.
Yeah. Cross that bridge when we get there.
All right. Flash.
Oh boy, 10 years in the making. You're finally here.
Okay, yeah, I did not realize that.
Yep.
I didn't know it was. They literally had it in like some sort of production or development / production hell for literally like almost 10 years.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was all the way back in 2015.
Happy
like when
10-year anniversary to Man of Steel, by the way. That was this week.
Fucking love that movie. God damn it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Krypton had its chance. Fuck your ship. Like, oh god.
Great.
Fantastic popcorn movie. Right amount of humor. Great, cool special effects. Is the CGI shoddy at times? Sure. But like I've told literally everyone I've talked to, I don't know why, but for this movie, I just don't give a shit. I just truly didn't care. I was watching it. I saw it night and day, especially in some of those scenes.
It was bad sometimes.
Some of those scenes where there's 2 Barry Allens, it's like, fuck, that looks bad.
Yeah.
But I just sat there, I was like, I don't care, though. I truly don't care. Because I just loved this movie.
I loved it. I think the only part with the CGI that I was like, what the fuck, was when you would see the same shot more than once and the CGI was completely different. And I don't know if that was supposed to be time distortion, but it didn't look like it. It did, like
the director came out and said that some of the effects were shoddy and shitty, like on purpose, because you're supposed to be seeing it from you're supposed to interpret it as like it's being perceived very odd.
Okay. Yeah, it sure was. I'll tell you that.
Which I can kind of see because, I mean, honestly, there's tons of other shit in this movie that's clearly CGI, and I was like, this looks good.
Yeah,
I was
sure.
like, yeah.
Facts, yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't see this quote until after I had watched it from Muschietti. I am inclined to believe him because that's how I felt watching the movie was, if you've seen the trailers, this isn't spoiling anything, but when he is using his speed force, we'll say.
Yeah.
Certain elements that are seen, everything seems to have that same coat of paint on it. It's not like there's certain elements that look really crisp and good, and then there's just things that just stand out and look odd. Everything looks odd.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that in other parts of this movie, the CGI still isn't shoddy, because there are other parts in this movie where everything does look good, and then there's one little odd thing that looks off.
Yeah.
There are definitely 2 parts, 2 for sure that I caught. There's probably more, maybe not, but where Ezra looks straight up plastic boy, CGI boy, and I don't understand.
I know which part you're talking about.
I think I understand why, because there's even a couple where it's not even both the Barrys are on scene. There's some where it's just our Barry or older Barry, and they still look CGI. So, but my hypothesis for that would be is this movie has gone through so many changes and other bullshit. It's Probably Ezra came in, did audio work for it, and then they just CGI'd his face to lip sync what he said.
Probably.
What they said. That was
Hopefully,
my best guess.
I'll say
because I was
this.
like, he's like they're the only Barry on screen right now. Why do they need to be CGI? And I'm like, well, probably because
I'll say this too, that
Change what it
hopefully it's a movie that they do some polishing up on that front, like how Marvel tries to do with their movies recently.
That'd be nice.
Hopefully they do some polishing up on that for when it does release. But yeah, anyways, to keep it non-spoilery for right now, I mean, that's just what I can say about it.
Easter egg galore, nostalgia galore. It feels like a
God,
giant.
yeah.
But what I will say is, as the Snyder cultist of the group, even though I don't really consider myself the cultist anymore. I moved on to acceptance. All right.
Good.
But
you need to. It's happening.
And honestly, oddly enough,
Snyder's anonymous.
I feel like honestly, Snyder fans should watch this movie because I feel like this movie kind of, in a way, thematically, kind of ties into just accept things and let's move forward.
You know, I agree with you that if you're a Snyder fan, you should see this and definitely ignore all the shitheads on the internet, which I mean Twitter, that sit here and want to trash this movie and say how it's not like Flashpoint at all. When, well, it's the Flashpoint of the universe Snyder created. So I get where people are coming from. If you're looking for true original Flashpoint, you're not gonna get it. There's nothing to do with Atlanteans and Amazonians in this movie. It's very different, but that's okay.
That's something that kind of bugs me too. It's just like, yeah, I get the story is definitely pulling heavy influence from Flashpoint, but the motherfucking movie's not called Flashpoint.
It's just called
like
Flash.
A lot of some of you people on the internet wanted it to be called Batman Flashpoint because of all the drama. It's just like, no, it's still just the Flash. It's not the Flashpoint or anything.
Flash.
It just takes inspiration from that.
It just because that's the most popular fucking Flash story. It's Flashpoint because it's cool because like he fucks time up.
Yep.
But overall, I really enjoyed it.
I think like you said, the nostalgia feeling of Keaton being back as Batman was awesome, and I think everyone should.
I will say, when that was first announced, I was really nervous about him coming back. I was really afraid he might just shoehorn it in. I should have known better.
So good.
I should have known better. When the theme hits too, I'm like,
yeah,
so good.
Like I said, I don't know, the shot from the trailer, like where he's like you're the one. Barry's freaking out. He's like, yeah, I'm Batman, and my theater erupted with claps and legitimately like the older generation behind me, just all of them, just yeah, and I'm like, I literally sat there and I was like, okay, I get it now, like how like that whole generation, like I get, that's your Batman. Mm-hmm. Because I'll say this, that I mean, I probably would be the same way if it was Christian Bale.
Right.
Like I would.
Oh my god! If this was Christian Bale instead of Keaton, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, good god.
It totally break
I don't
his
know.
universe.
So I was like,
it would totally break.
And me as someone who I just recently watched all the '90s Batman movies, so I just watched the 2 Burton ones. Like I said, I was like, okay, like I get it. You older millennials, you Gen Xers, that's your Batman. I get it. And honestly, like you said, you kind of had that fear just because of how old Keaton is, but it's like, I don't know. It was like, I just sat there, I was like, man, it's like, he just recaptured it immediately.
He did. He was just right back in it.
He was right back to the Bruce Wayne that he was.
The other one, he was all crazy haired and shit, and he jumped out of the fucking cabinet. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just want to get in the spoilers then, or?
Yeah, definitely recommend.
Yeah, definitely, highly recommended.
All right, spoiler time. Zack Snyder's Justice League is canon, baby.
Woo! Dude, that was, yeah.
So happy. I was like, you know what? Screw it. This movie could be shitty. That's all I needed to hear after WB fucked up and said that it wasn't years ago.
I loved how he's like, I need a PB, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, what's that? And he just rattles it off. He's like, well, I'm supposed to be saving time here. And he's like, checking the watch is low energy. And speaking of that, a lot of this movie, I will say, as someone who's was never ever real familiar with everything Flash can do, I'm glad I did at least watch a handful of seasons of the CW Flash.
Yep. Phasing.
The phasing, the watching his calories.
Yep.
I love how much they embraced he needs to eat in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Constantly. I love it.
Oh,
Dude, the
my
hospital
God.
scene I loved it.
Dude.
I loved it.
All right, dude. I did too. And
Cracked the fuck up when he's like, you think he's going for the kid? And he moves it out of the way. He's like, breaks the vending machine and starts hogging chocolate now.
Chips and crackers
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh my God. We were all dying laughing in the
Yeah.
theater. Oh my God.
So good.
Dude, and that was so cool. He like pushes the one in the microwave and he's like,
Oh, the baby in the fucking.
and I love the attention to detail too. And he kind of circles back to it later, but I'll say like how he only touches things that can take like the electric charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says like later, he's like, yeah, you can only like move certain things. Like you can't, because that's funny. Because again, he's like, "What'd you do?" And he's like, "Well, I have to get you out of the way."
I moved you just a little bit. I moved you a little bit.
He's like, "I moved you a little bit." And he's just.
He just kept vomiting. It was so funny.
Oh my God, dude. God. But back to it. I don't know. I do like how they, from the rip, they were just like, here's how it looks when he's gonna run.
I like the effect they did.
And he's like, yeah, he's doing the cheesy like run like that, like. But it is cool, like how like they're fucking zooming like everything around and past him. I was like, okay, I like how this is shot.
Dude, I knew from that moment it was gonna be an entertaining as hell movie because I'm like, that's
when
the
he
shot
ran
everybody
and
wants.
when he ran and when they actually had it, like they had it where he runs across the water. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, cool, they're doing this right.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like how
Sweet.
it like warped and like zoomed right before he like takes. I was like, yeah, it's satisfying.
And so much emphasis on the stance too.
Yeah.
Every time, love that. That's always a thing
Mhm.
for any version of the Flash.
Yeah.
What is that character?
Wile E. Coyote. Or yeah. No.
Or is it the mouse?
Speedy Gonzalez.
That's
Speedy
it. Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, I've done.
I'm an idiot.
I did that a lot.
He's like, Speedy Gonzalez. He's like, yeah, I've done it. Just boom. It's like,
And then real quick, my favorite line of the whole movie, I think. Let's go, Barbie.
Let's go party.
he's all serious, just let's go Barbie, and the other one's like, let's go party.
So random, but it was just so perfect too. I was just like,
I loved Stoner Barry Allen. It was so funny. He kept going.
And that was like another reason why it was so fucking perfect, because that Barry was a shithead because he did grow up with his parents who probably spoiled him and helicoptered him, and you know he got to go off to college and he was a shithead.
Yep.
And like
Your eyes are clear. I can see his eyes.
like Ben Affleck Bruce tried to tell him like, you are who you are because of what you lost, and you don't need to change it. And he's like, you could destroy everything, and he was like warning him, don't do this, like that's a lot of power to have. And like he told him like, you are who you are because of what you've lost. It's defined us. And and then it's funny because then like Barry like is literally seeking a friend, and Bruce, who's so fucking antisocial and doesn't want to have friends because he's weird, it's like, yeah, maybe another time, when it's like, jackass, like, if you just would have went and got pizza with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I knew from the go of like when Bruce denied him, I was like, well, you fucked up. That's where you fuck up, because now you're not babysitting him to give him a friend that he needs. And
Right.
then he calls his dad, talks to his dad, and the evidence is shit, and
Never looks up.
and too, when they here she comes.
Oh, there's the bodyguard.
She knew we were talking about her too.
Throw that big head around.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
The Batman, but him as Batman in the beginning. I mean, some of the shit that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually really, really liked the beginning. Just thank God we didn't get them all, but we got most of them together again. No Cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. It's not a surprise that those two didn't come for a cameo.
It was pretty cool though, them tracking them all down and finding out that their characters exist, but they're not quite who they are supposed to be yet.
I
that was
love
sweet.
I love when she pulls him up with the rope and he's just got a shit cheese grin. He's like, "Hey."
Yeah, I actually like that too.
Everyone,
I was like, yes!
Everyone chuckled and everyone's like, "Yes!" Like,
they belong together.
I know what sex is, but I haven't experienced it yet. That's so funny.
I just love. He's like, really, I don't even know why I do this. Like, I have survivor's guilt. Like, he's like talking about having survivor's guilt. And he's like, I could just be like any other normal billionaire and give all my money away to charity. He's like, but instead I just do this and I don't really know why. And like, he won't shut up.
I can't thank another person.
Oh yeah,
I have too much ego.
I forgot. Yeah, he just looks at her and he's like smiling. He's like, my ego's too big to thank another person.
Yeah,
and that's like when he notices and he just looks down and goes, oh yeah.
Lasso of truth.
Yep. Talking. Yeah, honestly, her cameo, because I was wondering when they were hanging, I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? And when it was her cameo, I was like, cool.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And it wasn't as prominent of the.
Thank God, jeez.
I about
it's like they
back
heard.
At you and been like, yep, they were listening.
It's like it's like they heard us on here. It's like, thank God.
Yeah, it was subtle, much
Yeah.
more subtle. And she showed some
right.
cheeks too. I was a little surprised at that. I was a little surprised that they did that.
I am as well. Actually, I think that's actually It's
Wait, what now?
She showed some cheeks, some
There were-
underbutt,
Yeah, there was.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Uh-huh.
I literally didn't.
Muschetti's
catch
an
it at all.
ass man, apparently.
and it was.
I've been hearing the rounds that Muschetti's an ass
oh
man.
man, and it was panned down, and she was walking away, and you could see the underbutt. And
I
was like,
literally paid zero attention to that.
I was
it's just who I am as a person.
I only paid attention
not a pervert.
to it.
I'm just Italian.
I just appreciate things. The gabagool.
I paid attention to it because usually gals very against sexualizing Wonder Woman. And that's
Yeah.
why she did not like working with Whedon. And you
'Cause
could
he
tell in certain
sexualized her.
shots he definitely goes a little under than Snyder did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of just paid attention to see how Muschietti handled it. And Muschetti's an ass man. I tell ya.
It was glorious. I went, oh.
Because I was surprised. I was like,
Okay.
it's final
were
appearance,
you,
I guess.
Where you were talking about where there were scenes where it's very crisp, but then you can kind of tell CGI. I thought at the end of that bridge moment that Batfleck looked a little shitty.
Batfleck.
It looked like, for one thing, it kind of looked like the whole Shazam thing, where that maybe was not filmed actually together. He was so stiff, he's kind of stiff, and he kind of doesn't even look at Barry when Barry is like, okay, yeah, whatever, see you later.
Maybe.
He wasn't reacting to a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just felt so fucking weird.
Off.
It felt off, and it looked, and like I said, it looked like the cowl was completely CGI'd on him.
About to say something.
And I was like,
something was kind of wonky with his face in that scene. It
I was like,
I was very much getting Justice League vibes with Superman a little bit. I was like, what? Something did look a little off, but I was like, maybe in my head, I was like, maybe it's just the lighting.
Yeah. Speaking of Superman, so call Superman. Dealing with a volcano, and it just shows him he's just lasering shit. I was like, okay, then.
Yeah, our last vision of Henry Cavill is a CGI. Fuck, man. We thought the fucking Justice League was bad for a last appearance.
Dude, yeah. So when he gets in the fucked up...
No, Black Adam's the last appearance, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, fuck. That is one of the major bummers for me, is no Cavill, which He filmed a scene for this movie, and that's what actually pisses me off more than anything.
I'll say this.
They showed him at the end, didn't they?
No.
I thought they showed him in one of the worlds.
You see all the other ones.
I swear, I thought a lot of people cheered when his came out.
You see one that you wouldn't even know.
A lot of people cheered when Nick Cage's showed up.
Oh,
I was gonna say
Superman still lives or something like that, or what was that supposed to be?
Superman
Lives. It was supposed to be called Superman Lives.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one that I'm like, all right, whatever. That one's total fan service.
That's a deep cut right there.
Right. That one is like,
that didn't even get made, did it?
No.
It was
there's a documentary on
the death of Superman Lives. Is what it's called.
There's a documentary on it that was made in 2015 on why it never got made, and it basically never got made because Mars Attacks tanked, and Burton did that one. So Warner Brothers was like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude!"
And I love Mars Attacks.
That movie's hilarious.
I love it.
It's very underrated.
I know it's a cult classic.
That movie actually like scarred me as a small child.
Really?
Yeah.
I
think it was their fucking eyes, dude.
Oh,
yeah, they are weird. But anyway, yeah.
I love that movie. I'll watch it right now.
I
love it.
I haven't seen that in a long time. But it's funnier in how. It's funny as shit. They breathe heavy on the glass, and the two are having sex in the trailer. Like, like it's so fucking weird. Like, God,
it's so good.
Anyways, that reference, I was kind of waiting to bring that up, just because it's at the very end of the movie. But yeah, like, that's the one I told a coworker. I said, "There's a reference in there." I said that unless you're a fucking just diehard comic nerd DC person, you're gonna see that and be like, "What the hell?" Like, you aren't gonna know what that is.
Yeah.
Like
not at all.
As soon as it showed the spiders and I saw the long hair, I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
I just always think of that GIF, the send when he's got his face like that and the hair is blowing. I just fucking thought of that immediately when I saw him. I was like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, for those that don't know.
Oh god.
Especially with the story about the spider. Kevin Smith has a long-running story about when he was brought on to write that movie, or a Superman movie, which eventually turned into that one that didn't come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
One of the producers,
he wanted like that, right?
Yeah, like I think one of his guarantees was he had 3 promises that he had to hold to, which was, I think, change the suit if I remember right. He can't fly, and he has to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act.
But he was flying in that cameo.
He was in the cameo, because fuck that producer, because that movie never got made, and that producer went on to make Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and what does that movie end with? A giant spider. So he got a spider in the end.
That's fucking funny. I'll be damned if I don't get my spider.
I don't have my spider.
I hope you know.
God.
That's fucking funny.
So yeah, extra awesome they threw the spider in there.
Let's get back into the bulk of the movie though before you jump to the fucking end and the cool ass cameos. Which I didn't see coming all that, but anyways.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the beginning with all the remnants of the Justice League that we have anyway.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people say that it felt like the old cartoons.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
It's what it felt like, and I liked that about it. I liked how, and some people even pointed out it was surprised they didn't make like a big deal about them all like being together on screen like they would for like a Marvel like team up shot or something like that. And it's like, well, I feel like that's kind of the point. It's like it's not supposed to feel like a big deal. It's supposed to feel normal. Like they do. It's just a daily thing for them.
I'm the janitor of the Justice League. I'm always cleaning up. It's like somehow I'm always cleaning up Batman's mess.
I've basically accepted that I'm the janitor of the group, which I'm fine with. But the problem I have is, why am I always cleaning up Bruce's mess? Or something like that. Funny. That was so good.
So good.
But now back to the it's very interesting that he didn't witness why his mother has a knife in her chest.
Yeah, I thought about that. Because when he recalls or when he goes back, didn't he somehow see it and he just blocked it out, and he blocked it out or something from his memory, but he actually witnessed
No,
more details?
He was in his room. He ran down the stairs. She was stabbed.
Well, I know in the movie, but I thought in the series it elaborates on that a little bit more.
What series? What do you mean?
I think he's talking about
CW.
I think he's talking about the TV show.
Yeah.
The CW, Eobard does it. Reverse Flash ran so fast he runs back in time to do it to make sure that Flash is created.
And in the comics.
That's
in
right.
the comics.
That's
That's
how
how
it
I knew there
is.
was something weird.
That's
that
how it
happened.
always goes in the comics. Is Reverse Flash, like, is the catalyst that ensures the Flash actually gets created.
Yeah.
And then Flashpoint happens because Barry stops him,
I remember that.
and then Barry then has to then stop himself from stopping him, so he corrects the timeline. And the CW does essentially the same thing.
Yeah, that I knew for sure.
Because, like, he creates Flashpoint, so then he runs back in time and he catches himself before himself is about to stop Fawn.
That's what I was thinking
He
about.
catches himself and he's like, he looks at himself and he goes, "Don't do it." And then his other self is like basically accepts it, and then everything gets put back into place.
That's what I was thinking about. I knew I was like, something.
This movie, again, it leaves it open for who stabbed her.
I'd say, yeah, don't get that answer at all. Not even remotely.
I think that was done on purpose because of this whole apparent possible sequel script. Like, part of me wonders, like, okay, was the sequel maybe going to introduce the Thawne was the one that did it?
I was hoping so.
But yeah, so you never actually, you do never see it, but then it's funny, because then the Dark Flash, like, punches him out of the chronosphere. He's, like, running forward, and he's, like, looking and seeing all the memories, and he's, like, so happy, and then all of a sudden, like,
just
rips it open. I was like, oh, shit, and he's just, like, punches him out of it. I was like, oh, shit,
Dude,
dude.
I was gonna say, what evil version of Flash is this? That's what my first thought was. I was
Well,
like,
you're not wrong. That's usually how it goes.
I know. I know.
So it turns out the bad guy's yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep,
it's like
exactly.
9 times out of 10. Just
Yep.
no. Not always, but
And this one still holds true,
Yeah.
to an extent.
but yeah, I loved how the other version of him, he's having dinner and he's just in the middle of it. He's like looks out and he just sees himself and he's like doing that dumb shit, and he just goes, oh shit.
I want to go
He's
back.
like, I have to take a shit outside.
Yeah, I was outside.
I want to go back and rewatch that part. Apparently, because obviously it takes heavily influence from Back to the Future. They even reference that movie in this. I guess when
Several
young Barry is walking up, apparently he like swings his sleeve the same way that young Marty does in Back to the Future too.
Okay.
When he
Oh,
sees it.
shit.
And
That's
I was
fun.
like,
That's
fuck.
awesome.
I was like, I need to go back and look and see if that's true, because that's quite a cool Easter egg if that's the
Yeah,
case too.
that
Sweet.
is.
I like when Gary on the couch. You're talking about BTTF?
Yeah, BTTF. When he said that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's fucking.
And then, like, all the actors are, for every movie he starts rattling off, the main actor was cast different.
Yeah, so.
And then Tom Cruise just was never a thing.
Yeah, ironic that he likes this movie, apparently.
Yeah, that was hilarious that, like,
Yeah.
they're like going through it and they're like, yeah, who's Tom Cruise? Like, it was just Tom Cruise was never a thing. I was like, that's hilarious.
I love that Easter egg too, just because the Back to the Future movies are some of my favorite movies, period. So the fact that they have the little Easter egg in there that Patrick Swayze is actually the one that starred, because he was actually the original one cast as Marty McFly and
That's dope.
filmed like most of the movie, and they were just like, this ain't working. And that's when they went and got
Never knew
Michael
that.
J. Fox. Yeah, that's why,
That's
once
cool
again,
as hell.
deep cut. There's some deep cut Easter eggs in this, and like, oh.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you
I
figure
was
that out. So
wondering-
then
I
Michael
was
J.
wondering
Fox is
what-
in Footloose, they
Yeah,
said, and
that's
then
it,
Kevin
yeah.
Bacon is in Top Gun. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what it
I
was.
was
Kevin
like, so
Bacon.
awesome.
She goes, oh,
Yeah,
bacon.
I was sitting there when they were rattling all that. I just sat there. I was like, I feel like these are like some deep. You got to be into movie lore and nerd shit to like know that
fully
stuff.
appreciate the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. The placement.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
good. So good, dude.
So good.
So good.
Um, So he tackles him. He speeds him upstairs. Whoa, this is trippy. No, this is catastrophic.
He's like, no, this is catastrophic.
Do the thing. Makes him a little pillow fort.
Yeah.
Sees that I think that's when he sees that the monkey toy is on the dartboard.
Is on the dartboard,
so that kind of like pisses him off, obviously.
Yeah. Because this is after Yeah. This is after, like, essentially, because he freaks out and he's like, what day is it? Because the storm starts, and he tells him, and he's like, this is the day I got my powers.
This is the day of our origin.
Right. Yeah, and he's like freaking out because he thinks like, okay, if you don't get your powers, then I'll lose mine.
Yeah,
and then like,
although no, that would not be true according to these rules.
Not like the sketty.
But that's why he said maybe I won't get my powers.
He said maybe I won't get my powers, and then they do the damn thing. Well, then he loses his powers, and then the other one gets in. Shit, that was so funny. Just the giant cloud of smoke off in the distance, and he comes back, and he's just got a pot over his crotch, and he just wiggles over, and he's just, what did you do? And he's, nothing.
Clothes caught on fire.
He's like, yeah, that's friction. You move too fast, you burn your clothes off.
Phase through the floor, and that fucking girl screams. I lost it.
Yeah, when he's like, oh, phasing? No, you can't do that yet. And like, just you gotta vibrate your molecules, and he just focuses and just falls through the floor.
Scream.
He's just.
Later when he talks about it, he's like, and I'm probably gonna have to move.
Right.
It's like freaked out.
Dude, hilarious when they go to the precinct though, and like the second time that like they have to sneak into that room, like the way that he just plops into his arms was hilarious. Like just gracefully just.
And the foreshadowing to Batman when he.
I know I like that. How was the running gag? No.
He's grabs him. He's like, okay. So funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then dude, that was so funny when he's just like, you're like way older than the Bruce I had in my universe. And he's like, well, yeah. He's like, you change. He's like, you don't just change to the future. He's like, you change the past too. And like, I thought that breakdown, like the way they did that, like in the Two Spaghetti, was kind of cool. Like how he's like, no, he's like, you'd think it would run like this, and it's gonna just bend a little. And he goes, no, that's not how it works. And he does like this whole like, no, you create this whole other line of time, and it's so funny. And then as he's getting into it, he goes, and then you make this, and he plops the spaghetti into the bowl and goes, a lot of parallels, but not perfect. He's like,
but there's guaranteed crossover.
I like how there was even like a little Endgame reference in there too. He's like, you've probably seen that time works like this, and they basically explain how Endgame does it.
Yeah,
like, but that's not how it works. I was like,
yeah. Oh yeah, the bend in the spaghetti. Yeah, when he bends the spaghetti, that's how that is how the Ancient One explained it to Bruce, and he's like, yeah, that's not how it works, and. Yeah, okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool. It was like,
catch that, yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. We like gave a little nod to Marvel, but we're also establishing, but hey,
not the same rules.
Like, we're gonna be a little different here.
Yeah,
that's how it does it here.
Yeah. Shit, man. And then they sprinkled in some Red Sun plot. I was like, oh.
A little bit. Little dash
there.
Dash-a-rooney of it.
So the Red Sun is Superman lands in Russia instead of Kansas.
The Soviet Union.
So, like, the fact that not only did they decide, well, Kara's going to show up first, but also she landed in Russia, I was like, oh, that's a little Red Sun element there. I mean, that's, like, call back to, like, that whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when they fucking... Dude, I think one of the hardest points I laughed in the movie is when they're in that silo and he keeps knocking shit over. Every fucking move he makes.
Dude, I loved when they first go down and they get at the bottom and he knocks some shit over and it's just the shovel and it's just loud as shit. And everyone looks and they're both just like two frozen raccoons just sitting there. Like,
because he ran into that barrel first and then he tries to move it and he goes, don't. And then he hits that fucking thing, knocks it over. He moves his leg again and knocks it over the rest of the way. Like, just
Still
fucking
absolutely
Jesus.
hilarious. What'd you do? I moved you like a little bit. God.
Oh my god.
Projectile bomb. Like you said, it just went on. Like, it was
kept
so
going.
funny. But oh man, but the stylized fighting with Keaton's Batman was just crazy
Awesome.
fucking sick.
Oh, dude, the kicks into the fucking wall. With just
I
the
love
directional
I'd
kicks.
love to how he's like, "Where's your parachute?" and he just smiles at him and drops himself out, and he just does the flying. I was like, God, yes, that is so awesome.
Do the Batmobile in this one, the classic.
Yeah,
Really
you just
no.
don't get to see it in action, but it
Yeah.
is cool to see.
Dude, we get
Yeah.
to see the new and improved Batwing though.
That's yeah, we do get the new Batwing.
I like how the wings, like, I don't know if it's like just the wings or if both of them can spin, but like when he's like doing the spinning shit, but his cockpit
It's the
almost
whole-
goes-
Cockpit stays
The
level.
cockpit stays.
I was
It's the
like-
whole thing.
I was like, oh,
spins.
shit.
The
Yeah.
fuselage or whatever right in the middle stays the
Yeah.
same while the rest
Yeah.
of that's dope.
I thought that was sick.
That was sick as shit.
So
I
fucking
thought it was funny too when after Batman drops out and our Barry, who no longer has his powers, he's like all kind of nervous about it, and then it like drops one more. He's like, "Oh, there's levels to this," and then all of a sudden it was like, drops him out.
Yeah.
I'm usually more of I like the Snyder. I like the more serious take, the Nolan takes,
I just felt like
the Matt Reeves,
Mhm.
the like. I'm not usually super big on humor. It's not my style or what my choice personally would be. But I actually liked a lot of the humor in this movie. I felt like a
Because
lot of
it's-
it hit and was like actually kind of well thought out.
I was gonna say because it was well thought out and it was well placed. It wasn't forced into you.
Mhm.
Like that's
So-
why it was good.
I
Oh,
feel like
God.
actually they found a really
You're obnoxious and you're annoying and oh my god!
I know what
now
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I get it about myself. And when
Yes!
people tell me
Yeah.
like I love how they
it's
had
like-
self-referential jokes like that too
Yeah.
about how people thought Barry was annoying in the first Justice League movie. Like that whole
Yeah.
like younger version is a play on that and how Barry has gotten older now and he's more mature. So now he doesn't have to be that annoying anymore, but he can still help this Barry grow, but he himself can still grow. They made fun of his run that everybody when he loses his powers and he goes to run for the first time, he's just running in a
So
circle,
funny.
just
The
doing his
Scott
little
Eagle.
like
he goes it was just. He's like, I'm slow.
Yeah.
Shit.
I liked when he did the mental health.
that.
Plug
Oh
on
my! Thank
himself.
you for bringing that up.
Oh,
What is
I
Yes,
love
the
it.
mental health line.
So he goes, he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
right after the hospital, and he's like, mental health is very important. You should go talk to somebody. And he goes, he's like, because Justice League, they haven't really come very far with that. Take it
Yeah,
from me.
yeah.
I
I
really
would
figured
know.
that part
Yeah.
out. Quite
I
yet.
was like,
He's
I
like,
go-
we
I
haven't
go, oh,
really
that was perfect.
figured.
Yeah, I was like,
He's like,
I
we
really
haven't
figured
really
it out.
figured that out yet.
Yeah, I was like,
That line
perfect
hits a-
dig on yourself.
little different now than it would have originally.
Yep,
Damn, yeah. Didn't even think of that.
yep.
But it's still a funny line in the end because of just how, like all superheroes, how traumatizing all of their
Yeah.
lives
Yeah.
are and how much shit they go through.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Today's a very traumatic experience. It's so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, they finally get in. Yes, the action with Keaton was.
Awesome.
It's
So
so
good.
cool to see him fight in a way that we just didn't have the technology or know how to do back when he was obviously making the movies when he
Yeah.
was younger. It was really cool. I
So
almost.
good.
It's obviously no warehouse scene, but it's got nice little hints of it that
Yeah.
remind me. I'm like,
Dude,
I'm like,
I love
Dude,
like
just getting crunched into
I
the
love when
pillar.
they bro-
just
when-
crunched. I'm like,
dude,
yeah.
and I love to like there is still the dark element to this where like obviously like fuck justice in this like dude she was launching motherfuckers. I was
Oh, yeah.
like oh yes like when she got out and she was just launching dudes like out into the fucking horizon
And they're screaming.
yeah they're like screaming. I'm like yes.
This is what I want.
I've seen complaints about that too. Of
Oh.
like, oh, how does
Fucking Jesus
Kara
Surprise,
automatically come out and know how to fight when Henry had to like struggle
Well,
and be?
didn't forget.
And here's my
Well,
answer.
and again-
Exactly, because she never forgot. Because
God.
and granted, I can never remember this, but I know she's. Point being, she's sent to be the protector of Cal.
Yeah,
So,
she's trained to fight on Krypton before it explodes.
So
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
also.
she was a
so-
fucking fully capable fighter.
I always seem to forget this,
I
but
feel-
she is obviously older than Cal. Correct? It's not some weird
uh,
time thing that.
Well, so how it goes is that when Krypton's exploding, she's like 16 years old or some shit, and he's an infant. They both are put on separate pods and they're ejected. However, she like always hits debris, and then her ship goes off course, or she gets knocked into the Phantom Zone with Zod and all them. There's multiple different origins to it, but it's usually like her pod's knocked off course by a couple decades, and like she shows up way later after Clark has been Clark and he's been Superman for a hot minute. So then he ends up being older, and that's why usually in iterations like you'll see where Kara comes to Earth, and since she was like already like a young adult and she remembers what life was like on Krypton, that's why it's harder for her to accept what Earth is and fit in. And she's like, she views humans initially first. She's like, yeah, they're all stupid. This is a very like non-advanced civilization.
Look at these bunch of gorillas.
And yeah,
mindless.
And Clark's
apes.
Clark's like, you got to learn to live with it. And she always like makes comments like, I am technically older than you. Like,
yeah, say that's why.
Like she always kind of says that, but it doesn't mean shit because again, well, you were, but you're not anymore.
Yeah, right.
You're like,
right.
But like.
That's where it's like, yeah, kind of confusing. Is when they shipped off, she is older, but by the time she actually gets there, she's no longer.
And
again, obviously, it's a little taken from the Red Sun stuff, and you can also think too that like, well,
it's also from Flashpoint too, because in Flashpoint, Superman is held underground.
Held underground by the U.S. government. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just instead of the U.S., it's Russia now. Like,
yeah.
So there's the hint of Red Sun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's exactly. It's like, it's not like she forgot how to fight.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
didn't
even think twice about that.
And it took the whole movie for her to use her fucking eyes, and she only did it because she was so pissed off.
Yeah.
So, it's not like she was OP, knew how to use every single power she had from the get-go.
She was just...
No, she just figured out, like, oh, I can fly real fast, and I'm really fucking strong and fast.
And she got up in the sun.
Now that you've alluded to the scene where she gets pissed off and use her eyes. For those that did watch and you listened to the extra potential spoiler section of the leaks, the leaks were correct. This whole movie was online like a year ago.
Oh my god.
Not video, just what happened. But they did the thing I was nervous that they were going to keep in, and they actually confirmed that they killed, which I get. Seeing it actually in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's a multiverse story. It makes sense. Yeah, they killed Baby Kal-El, confirmed by Zod himself.
Yeah.
Baby Kal.
Because they thought he had the Codex when in that universe, like she had the Codex in her.
Now that we're kind of talking about her though, what was your since you're a big Supergirl fan more than I have, I just haven't read a lot of Supergirl comics. What was your what'd you think?
Dude, I thought it was great. Like especially like the way that it worked in the story. And I like too how she at first, like, she tells the other Barry that she's like, from what I've seen from you humans, you're not worth saving. And she's like, kind of fine with the Kryptonians, but then, obviously, when she flies to see which Kryptonians they are, and then they just start massacring humans. She's like, okay, well, wait, we're not like that though. Like, she's like, wait, we're not supposed to be that though either. That's like why it's like, again, if you know shit about Supergirl, it's like, well, again, she was 16 or whatever on Krypton, so like obviously like she probably saw the whole Zod throwing a coup when the planet was blowing up, so she knows how much of a bastard he and his people are. So she, like, her thought was probably like, oh, we'll peacefully move you off this planet and we'll put you somewhere else. Is my thought on that. Like, yeah, they didn't outright say it to you, but I assume her thoughts were like, well, we're still a peaceful people. We will terraform your planet, but we'll move you off of it, like, to somewhere else. Like,
till he waxes that...
Yeah.
Dude in the military.
So he waxes all the military people, and she's like, no, and then they see her, and she's like, okay. And then just helps the other Flash, or other Barry, the main Barry, get his powers back.
That was a cool
I loved how he's like, And he's just not doing anything. And then the other Barry's just, I got this, and a bullet goes through his knees.
Oh my god!
He's like, you didn't tell me we can get shot. He's like, why would you think that we couldn't get shot? It's so good. It's so good.
So good. He's like, dude, stop screaming. It's fine. You'll heal. And he's just, oh my god.
Yeah, dude, I love when another one of their interactions when he's about to get electrocuted, and he's like, he's on board with it. He's like, just for the record, I think this is insane.
Yeah.
This shit's so funny.
Oh, just because I forgot, I did like the callback of when Keaton was first introduced. They did a callback of, well, both Justice Leagues technically, but when Barry first meets Batfleck and he throws the Batarang and it like freezes him. Except this time it's a frying pan.
Yeah, it's the frying pan. He's just dodging it. Yeah, that was good.
So funny.
Yeah.
And then also, just real
callback,
quick, since I kind of teased it earlier, the two moments that for sure confirmed the Snyder Cut is canon is one, when he's talking to Batfleck before he takes off and he's talking about how you could destroy everything. He talks about how you can go back into time. They allude to the fight in Russia when he turns back time. That only happens in the Snyder Cut. And also, two, when he talks to Iris West in the beginning.
That only happens in the Snyder Cut?
When he turns back time. He doesn't turn back time in the Justice League Cut.
I thought he did, but alright.
No, in the Justice League Cut, he gets sent off to go push people in a truck. The random stupid family that got randomly fucking movie.
Yep, you got it, bud. We're all there with you.
The other one is when he is talking to Iris in the beginning, and he said something alluding to the fact of like last time I seen you since college, and she says something that alludes to like I felt like I saw you not that long ago.
Yeah.
And that's obviously alluding to the scene
when
he saves her.
That Iris, so the Snyder Cut's canon, Okay. I didn't even think of that, but I did catch that when she's like, but I think we've seen each other recently.
Recently, yeah.
I sat there and I was like, oh yeah, because he saves her, but I forgot that that is not in the Justice Cut either. Cool. But yeah, no, I thought Kara was awesome.
I wanted to ask you just because when I'm just thinking about it, like if somebody asked me, it's just like honestly, I don't know if I could give you an answer.
Dude, it's just
because she's not in the movie enough for me. Like I was kind of let down for me a little bit. She's not in it very long.
Well, shit, the movie goes on for an hour before Keaton even shows up.
Yeah,
if you notice that.
Yeah.
Like which isn't a problem because honestly, I was having so much fun with it. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, same.
There's a lot of building going on before that.
But yeah, I mean, she really is not in a lot of the movie. And then for what she is in, I mean, it's mainly heavy CGI of her fighting Zod. It's like, but I loved it, though, because, like, I mean, dude, she just wrecks it. I mean, obviously, it was all, like, he was allowing it, essentially. But, I mean, she's, like, wrecking his shit. I was like, it's awesome.
With the fucking pipe.
Dude, yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, God.
Tries to stab him in the face with it, dude. I was like, hell yeah.
More of that.
For what little I did see, though, I did like I don't think we're going to, but I'd like to see more.
Of her?
Yeah.
You never know.
It'd be interesting, but I don't know if we will.
She could be, because what did he call himself? Like, so, again, as they fight Zod and his army, and they realize how, like, that fight, that world is doomed to always lose. Like, how Keaton was saying it was like a fated event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what. And no matter, like, how many times they tried to, like, run back to change it, like, it was always going to happen.
Just an inevitability. It's a fixed point.
It's a fixed point. I loved how... And I... Honestly, like, as soon as, like, when they do it the first time and the shard of the suit or gets in him,
mm-hmm.
and it's, like, the Kryptonian shit, and then he fucking murders that chick, which I was like, that is so brutal and awesome. Like, the way that he he just fucked her up.
Dude, when he did his arm down like that, and it was like sticking out, and they made him like the prominent shot. And I was like, oh.
As
fuck
soon
yeah.
as that, as soon I will say, like that's the thing is like it was immediate right there. Like once that got in him, I was like, okay, it's the Dark Flash is him. I was like just a future version. I knew it was coming.
When he had it stuck in his back, that was the first thing I noticed is there wasn't the armor. It wasn't armor because it was uneven. So I saw when he came back after a couple passes. One was sticking out of his back. I was like, all right, man.
That's what it is like the version of himself that kept doing that, like ran back millions of times, and he's like
more
running.
Than you could ever dream.
He's he's like I've lived longer than you have dreamed or something. Like that's the whole thing. It's like he's infinitely old, and because he kept going back trying to, and that's like why he has the fucking weirdo like armor that he has.
I was actually curious because I mean we'd seen the toy leaks and stuff like that. I was like, how are they gonna turn him into looking like that? Is it just they just not gonna do it or whatever? But I thought it was cool that they kind of gave a reason as to how he turns like that. It's literally just shards of Kryptonian metal just shoved into his fucking body.
Yeah, and I was just curious too on like how how is it a version of Barry and it made sense like it's because he's trying to save it. It's the one from that universe that's trying to save his world, and like again it's the same problem. He's like, well, I want to save Mom.
Yep.
And unfortunately Mom dying is an inevitability. It's a finite point.
Yep.
And he's like I've almost got the answer. And then, like, the multiverse opens up, and... Dude, that was trippy. I just remember watching it, and, like... Because isn't the very first one the George Reeves?
Yeah. Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I was like... I saw that, and I was like...
Kool-Aid,
it's all, like, black and white, and I was like... What the fuck? And then, like...
Was it Christopher Reeves, the one with it?
Christopher Reeves is the one where it was blacked out, and then Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the can't remember her name, but then the Supergirl, which that's actually was that a TV show? That was a TV show.
It was a movie that bombed horribly.
Oh,
Christopher Reeves was actually supposed to be in that movie, and then he apparently read the script and was like, no. So it's kind of cool because those characters never were actually seen on screen together.
But they were supposed.
But they were supposed to exist in the same world and universe.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
So finally got to see cooler. Them together in a way.
And then the Nick Cage. And then Adam
West, Batman.
Batman. And honestly, as they were doing that, I sat there and I'm like, all right, come on. Show Bale. Like, show fucking Pattinson. Like, show me.
Yeah. All encompassing.
It's like, I just sat there and I'm like, well, okay, why are you only showing Batman? And like this it even says here, like in this article that I pulled up, I've been waiting to talk about it until we got to this part. He had alternate versions. He had a version where he was going to do Linda Carter, and he was going to do, is it Marlon Brando's Zor-El from Richard Donner? Marlon Brando, Zor-El, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to have like him show in one, and then like a third one that, Cesar Romero as Joker. Which again, it's like, well, why didn't you just show something of Romero and West in the same shot? Like, you know.
Yeah.
The one missing that actually really, really hurts more than anything is no Grant Gustin. That actually, like,
especially because
really,
they did it in the show.
I know, that's why it hurts. Like, they did it for the TV show. It's like, why not bring him back for, like, come on, man. And then they kind of fucked up the Jay Garrick one, too. Because that's not actually Jay Garrick in the show. Because the original Flash ends up being the Jay Garrick from Earth 2, Shipley.
Right.
So they should have actually gotten him to come. It would have made apparently 100 times more sense if it would have been him.
Apparently that was like the Hunter Zolomon variant of Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically poses as like a good speedster, and then he turns out evil. He's not even the real Jay Garrick. So
shit.
Somebody put out. I think I saw a tweet that was like, I'm pretty sure somebody from this movie just Googled Jay Garrick Flash and just took a clip from the Flash.
Hunter Zolomon always turns out to be Zoom, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Most of the time, yeah. Even though there's different iterations where sometimes Thawne is. I don't know.
Sometimes it's Barry.
Sometimes it's Barry. And if you watch the CW show, you get fucking every single version of it.
It's basically always Barry.
Yeah.
It's always Barry.
It's always Barry. The chronosphere of the one running, and it's like, that's Solomon. I was like, oh, okay. And I sat there and I kind of, like that one, I saw that and I was like, why didn't you just do the guy from the Earth 2, the 90s show that's in the CW Flash too, as that Jay Garrick? It's like, why didn't you just do that one?
Yeah, that was the Jay Garrick.
Why wasn't really Ryan Reynolds there as Green Lantern?
That would have been awesome.
The biggest disappointment.
That would have been awesome, actually.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about? So this was the kind of the main scene I was talking about, where everything seems like it has the same coat of paint on it.
Yeah, so I don't.
It
mind
felt like
the
an
CGI.
artistic choice.
Yeah.
Do I agree with said artistic choice? No.
No, because it does on its face look bad.
Yeah,
And that's why the movie, like, people are shitting on it, like, oh, the CGI's terrible. It's like, but when you explain it like this, it's like, well, and your point, that's a nice way to explain it, is like, well, if you notice, like, it's the whole thing's done that way.
it's like literally everything.
Like
So
you said,
I do believe
Same
Muschietti
medium.
when he says that, like, yeah, when he's like in the Chrono Bowl or certain points of the Speed Force, like, it does seem more intentional because everything has that filter, we'll say, on it. But like, yes, there are definitely still shoddy CGI spots where I'm like, whew, that sticks out compared to everything else.
There's a point when they're going to the fight in the jet, and he's like, it's the two Ezras, the two Barrys, and they're sitting next to each other. You can totally tell
Which one, yeah.
The one is the real him, and then the other one just looks like it's like his neck looks completely plastic.
That forehead too. If you
How goddamn funny is it that they made fun of the bat suit, and when he turns, his head's turning in the mask, and the mask doesn't turn because you can't move the neck. We died at
ripped
that.
it off at one.
Yeah, in the theater, everyone died at that. I was like, yes, that's perfect.
Dude, everybody erupted when he was sawing the ears off.
Yeah.
Lost
Dude,
it.
yeah.
It's like he took care of everything real quick, and then he gets the ears, and it's like...
What are we wearing? I love that when he gets up, he's like, what are we wearing?
He's like, what are we wearing? Just like, painted it, man.
It's got the caution tape around all the joints and shit.
I kept our color scheme.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so funny. He's got
Yeah.
spray painted bolt over the
Yeah.
bat sign.
That's the other thing is, like, even before this movie came out, there's just like people were like dogging on young Barry's like suit from like screenshots. It's like, do you not understand what the fucking suit is? It's literally a spray painted bat suit. It's gonna look like shit.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to look good.
18-year-old Barry's best work.
Dude, so funny.
Put a little sticker on there. Good job.
Good job.
I like how he's like, I'm gonna show our kids one day, and he's like, our kids? he's just like, I mean, just kids in general, and like she like looks back because it's like she totally heard him. I just loved that. Oh man,
So many good parts, dude.
I do like how there's just kind of this running gag of Barry just always falls head over heels over like almost every attractive female that he runs into. It's like Wonder Woman, Supergirl, still got his thing for Iris.
Yeah,
As he should.
'Cause
It's
even
one
in
you
the-
should pay attention
well,
to.
because
Barry.
even in the CW era, even in the, it's funny because even in the CW Arrowverse, they fucking allude to it too. Like, I think in the CW Arrowverse, in the Supergirl universe, like Supergirl, all her friends and family talk like, dude, you should date this guy, and like she's like, no, he lives in a different universe. And, like that's the thing. It's always a running thing with Flash. Guys, I lost my shit laughing at the very end. The very end. That was
Are we going to the end now?
that. I mean, do you want to just?
Might as
We'll just lead up to it. We're almost at the end anyway.
So like essentially.
The Dark Flash comes back.
Oh, the Dark Flash comes back, and then it's I mean, Yeah, and then what's crazy is like he comes back. It's kind of just funny because it's like, well, dude, bro, if like you've been traveling and you can see all of time, then how'd you not anticipate you're gonna see yourself? Anyways, whatever.
Because he anticipated the first time he saw him. Why not the
Yeah.
second? That's weird.
So wait, what now? You're confused. Who's seen what?
It's just like the Dark Flash when he comes back and he's like explaining to them and like they're watching the worlds collide of the multiverse. He's like, I've almost got the solution to the equation. And then he just, I think, doesn't he repeat himself again to him? He says like some things just can't be solved, and that's like what
Kind of connects.
Or no, that's when the Dark Flash, like he says to the real, like the original Barry, he's like, "You're the constant." He's like, "You're a constant. You're you're the whatever." He talked about that.
The fulcrum.
A fulcrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're always you. Like you don't ever look different or anything. It's like you're a fulcrum individual. And he's like, goes to stab him, and then the other version of himself jumps in front to save him because like he didn't want him to die either.
Which
and
basically
then,
makes it all right again. Or
well,
portion.
yeah, because essentially his older self killing his younger self means that his older self never happens.
Yep.
So yeah. So then it like that's why it all unfolds and goes back because now real Barry fixes it.
And then well, but almost fixes it.
Yeah, which I will
Moves
say,
the tomatoes to another shelf.
I really like how they handled the scene of Barry going back to his mom.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Yeah,
definitely got the emotions going. I thought it was handled. I like how. So in the comics, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure he either comes out and tells her everything, or she just straight up recognizes him. I got the hint that she actually still recognized who.
That's what I thought too.
Because
she looked at him and it changed immediately.
Yeah, and I really liked that part about that. I thought it was really well done. I was very happy.
Yeah,
I was going to be going into this movie. I told you guys like if I don't tear up at the end, the movie sucked.
Yeah.
Like it didn't live up to the story that it was pulling inspiration from. And
yeah.
I definitely teared up. It worked.
Yeah, and Ezra Miller. They said that his performance was more emotional than he's put forth before. Because they said it was an impressive performance, and I was kind of excited for it. And he delivered, I thought.
Ezra, I guess that's kind of the thing we haven't talked about yet, and I agree. I think Ezra did a great job.
Yeah.
Like not
Yeah.
like seeing these two different Barrys, like they truly feel like two different characters, and that's a feat.
Yeah,
like that is a true acting feat.
And he said like the one is old and mature and wise, and then the other one's a
stoner Barry.
Stoner that's a spoiled brat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what actually kind of like kind of a hot spicy take, I guess. Could be freezing cold, I guess later. I honestly think that if there wasn't any of all this drama surrounding Ezra, don't think they would win. But I think there would definitely be conversations of him being in at least nominations for like a Best Actor award for this.
Oh yeah, if he didn't have the issues he had, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
So that's just kind of depressing to think about in the end because it's like, well,
yeah,
DC could at least have that feather in their cap. But
and dude, honestly, and that's the thing too is that Barry. I hated that Barry from. Ezra's Barry. I hated it. Hated it, not just because of what he's done or all of his history. I just didn't like the interpretation of the character, and now I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say this movie kind of redeems the interpretation of the character because I never really ever cared for it, even in that movie.
Yeah, I didn't at all.
Yeah, that this movie kind of
totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah, that moment was pretty. Yeah, I was sad.
It was good. It was excellent.
It was good. It was well done. And he goes back, and then the obviously goes to the court case for his dad.
That was so cool.
The dad, I was like, because when he looks up in the store, I was like, oh, well, what's gonna catch his face, and he's gonna fuck himself.
That's what I thought.
That's where I thought it was gonna go.
Me too. I said, here we go again.
Yeah, and then like it gets to it, and it's like, no, he moved all the cans of tomatoes up, so his dad would have to go like this. Mm-hmm. So like, perfect. It's well like, done. He makes the finite thing still happen, but he at least gets a win. What he would probably deem as like, well, I can change this one small thing. It'll be like, this would actually probably be fine.
Until
Didn't learn your lesson, did you, Barry?
Dude, when they get out and he talks with Iris, dude, when the car rolls up and he's talking to him on the phone and like you can barely kind of make it out. I'm like, oh, and like the car's rolling up and I just laughed. I was like, it's gonna be Keaton. And when the crowd dissipates, I fucking lost my shit laughing.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Dude, dude.
So good. So good.
He's just, hey Barry, what? Hey, it's me. And he's just, who the fuck is this? Like, that was so funny. I lost my shit. I was like, no way did they do that.
So good.
He's just, you're not. No. And he's just,
You're not Batman. And he's, what are you talking about, Barry?
what are you talking about, Barry?
So funny.
Dude, oh my god. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. It was that very end. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, Clooney.
So good.
Not how it was originally supposed to end.
No, that was
a recent development in the past few months.
Yeah.
Okay, what was it supposed to end?
It was supposed to be Keaton.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be Keaton.
And
First it was supposed to be Ben Affleck. Then they changed it to Keaton.
Well,
I think
it's supposed to be Keaton. Well, actually, there is two different versions now.
I thought it was supposed to originally be Ben Affleck.
I've heard recently that it would have been changed to Keaton comes out, Sasha Calle flies down, Barry realizes something's up. Ben Affleck reaches him somehow through the Speed Force, telling him, Barry, you have to come find us and save us. And then that's when it ends. And it basically sets up Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's what Hamada's vision was. And they were
God damn it!
We should have let him stay!
Dude, that would have been awesome.
God damn it.
Right. God damn it.
That sounds so
Sell it to Netflix.
That sounds so hot. It sounds so good.
Sell it to Netflix.
And Cavill would have been back.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, god damn it. Fucking Warner Brothers.
I'm salty.
I honestly, Jordan, I kind of wish you didn't just tell me that.
I'm salty.
That pisses me off. Now I want them to sell it.
Imagine how I feel.
Probably worse than we actually do, because we'll probably just get over it. But I mean,
We'll get over
it. God damn it!
That's
assault.
I'll let Kevin soak that out. I'm supposed to read this. This is officially the Haley's shout out quote review of The Flash.
Okay.
Quote. I thought it was fucking phenomenal. Was a little cringe from time to time in the beginning with CGI. But overall, excellent movie. Emotionally moving scenes. The scene where he left his mom go was heart-wrenching, perfect. And they closed the movie out perfectly, bringing in Zaddy Clooney. Rating 10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
Yes.
Top fucking notch.
Fucking
top notch.
And then, full
Zaddy Clooney.
I told you guys earlier, but on the way home, I asked her, I was just like, you think I'll be as good looking as George Clooney when I'm his age?
That'd be
because
fantastic.
my God, that silver fox!
Shit, I'd take fucking Harrison Ford at this point. Cause I'm going to look like fucking the dude from the Goonies by the time I'm their age.
Yeah.
So, Gunn has already came out and said that Clooney's not going to be his Batman.
Oh, well, fuck no. He's 62 years old.
I'm just letting people know, for people on the internet, because there are people, James Gunn lying again, Clooney's on the... Anyway.
Hey, I'm going to say
Gunn with
this
your
real
lies.
quick. The other reason, again, so I said how I watched all those 90s movies, and I will say, I know that he openly admits he hated that he made that movie, and he hated making it. Like, he basically did it because of the money they gave him. Like, he got an outrageous amount of money to be Batman for that movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was like he was dumb if he turned it down.
Right.
But he hated making it. He hates that he made it. But I will say, He actually was a good Bruce Wayne.
He was actually a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I loved his Bruce. Actually, I have a guilty pleasure for those movies. They're terrible, but I occasionally like because I
will say
I loved them as a kid.
I loved them as a kid too.
Same.
So
but
I
will
like to go
say,
back and
watching it, going back and watching it, it's like forever. And that one and Batman and Robin. It's like, God, they're
they're
they
rough.
are the camp of comic book movies. Like they're the you're on the campground.
They are the Yellowstone Park of camp. Okay.
Yes, they are. But I will say, like, when I went back and watched them, I remember watching Batman and Robin, I'm like, this was actually really good. Like, he's actually a great Bruce Wayne Batman. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I will say that's, like, also why I love The Shot, because I was just like, dude, that's awesome. And again, the reaction to it too. Just that's where the F-bomb was. Just who the fuck is this? Like, that was I was just lost, losing it, man. I still like, even today as I was telling people, I was like, guys, I'm just gonna tell you right now, one of the best parts of the movie, the best cameo to me, I was like, it's literally at the very end, right before the credits roll, and it's hilarious. And they were like, some of my coworkers that just don't care, they just Googled it because I was like, well, I don't want to say it out loud for the
people that do care.
The people that do care and the older generations that they're gonna know the reference, because they Google it and they go, and they just like kind of go, oh, and then then another one, he Googles the name and then he just goes, oh, I didn't realize this, and I'm like, you've never have seen that movie, and he just no, and I was like, oh, dude, I was like, it's bad.
It's a trip. But I ain't gonna lie, even though I know he ain't gonna come back, it almost makes me just like, well, damn, if we were gonna go like an older Bruce, like
I was thinking that too. I was like, well, actually, Brave and the Bold, it's like, it could work. Just have a lot older Damien.
And it's like, fuck, I just saw old ass Michael Keaton back, man. Just fucking beat some ass like several times.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, like Michael Keaton's 71, I think. So I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, he came back and you showed like how, well, apparently Bruce Wayne that's that old is still gonna cruise around, and so it's like, well, why not have Clooney come back for it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's no way.
There's no way, but I would be down actually to get another Clooney Batman.
All right.
Cast him in Batman Beyond.
So, Gunn said that this movie was kind of perfect for the whole resetting of the universe, blah, blah, blah. So, did you guys stay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, clearly he is still going to be... I took that as he's definitely still going to be Aquaman going forward.
Well, yeah, he's still got a second movie to come out still.
Well,
I think that's the whole...
But the whole part of the line where he's like, they have the conversation, and he goes, because I think maybe that end credit scene wasn't, maybe that's when I'm getting confused, is that was the one that was getting flip-flopped with Ben Affleck and him? Maybe? I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I thought that one too, like, that was a very more recent, like, that very end credit scene, that was like a more recent change as well.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Or no, wait, no, maybe that is how it would. So actually, yeah. I think the movie was supposed to end with Keaton and Sasha Calle coming, and then yeah, I think in the post-credit scene, it's supposed to be Barry and Aquaman, and then that's when Batman shows up and says, Barry, you have to come find us. I think that's actually how it originally was supposed to go.
Okay.
Because yeah, the whole post-credit scene being the Flash and Aquaman drinking was a thing. That's always been a thing. Now it plays out a little bit differently than it was going to. So yeah, that's actually how it was supposed to go.
Okay. Because like to me, when he's like, so you're telling me that like there's all these different Batman and Superman, all of it, so they're all different. He's like, but you and I always remain the same. And he's like, yeah, we're fulcrums or something, whatever. And like, I just took that as like, that pretty much confirms that he ain't going anywhere as Aquaman.
See, but at the same time, it's not true, though, because when he was in the other universe, they kind of established that he wasn't there. Curry wasn't there because his dad, Boba, didn't marry Nicole Kidman. Heartbreak feels great in a place like this.
That was fucking hilarious. When he goes, he said, she's a Atlantean princess, and he goes, looks back, and it's this big old lady just sitting on the couch. He's like,
no,
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 I don't think so.
So it was prank call and just hangs up on him.
That's funny. Tomorrow.
But yeah, that was like the joke, is he was like, well, yeah, you're big and hairy and something faithful or something like that. So basically a dog. Because that was the joke, is that since he didn't have Arthur as a kid, he ended up having a dog, which had like a basically Aquaman colored collar, and he named the dog Arthur. Nice. So he was Aqua Dog. But I want to almost get some clarification on that post-credit scene. My hypothesis would be, if this really was a reset, then the Aquaman that he was talking to in the post-credit scene would be in the new universe. So it is a new Aquaman, but it's still just one that is very similar to the one that we've known before.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we ever actually got clarification on if that Aquaman... Because some people were talking in the when that post-credit scene was going on. So there was a couple things that I missed when they were saying. So I don't know if they said anything that might have like concreted that they were in a different universe. That's the other thing, is the Muschietis were like, there's some big surprises in the post-credit scene. It's like, that wasn't super surprising.
I mean, honestly, to me, it was just like, why is this even here? I mean,
that's how I felt.
That's why I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like,
try to get people to still be interested in Aquaman too.
Aquaman.
Oh, Jason Momoa still exists. Oh, he still matters. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just said, I'm still here. I'm still here.
I'm here,
it's
man.
coming. Don't worry.
I came out of WB offices jacked out of my mind, excited, but still doing my thing over here, man.
We're all good here, man.
Still love to know why he was so jacked about that announcement.
Yeah.
I still want to get that answer someday.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it than that.
It's not Lobo. What is it?
Right.
Yeah, you know what? After us talking about it, I'm going to stick with the 8.5.
I'm staying with my 9.
Staying with my actual 9. That's what we had a buddy this morning, and I just go 10 immediately.
That's what he was telling me earlier. I'm like, oh, I was like, really? That's a rare.
KP came hot out the gates with a 10er.
I just go 10. I was like, I don't even care about Spotty CGI because he hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, kind of, and he fucks with me just as much as I fuck with him. So
yeah, highly recommend. I think as a Snyder fan.
So good.
It felt like granted, we still have...
I'm usually in bed by now. That's why I'm yawning.
Yeah, I got to be up at 4:30, my guy.
Yeah, I literally usually, like, I am in the schedule now of I go to bed at, like, 9:30, 10, and I wake up at 5:30 each morning.
Yeah.
It's something.
No matter when I go to bed, I wake up at 6. Around the money. I can go to bed at 2 in the morning. I can go to bed at 9 p.m. 5 p.m. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. No matter what. When it gets brighter earlier, sun, I'm up.
Yeah, nice.
For better or for worse, sometimes.
I do think this was a pretty good send off for the Snyder crew. I guess technically we still have one more trip with Aquaman, but this is really all I wanted. I just didn't get Cavill, which sucks, but got most of the Justice League together one more time before they send off in the sunset. That's really mostly what I wanted. So one more trip with Aquaman, and then we're on to the new universe, the new DCU, as they call it. So
and all the Blue Beetles that you can handle.
Batman's a fascist.
That so funny, dude. It looks so good. I'm excited for that one. That, I'm excited for Dune.
Oh, the new Dune looks great.
Was that November 3rd?
Oh, I did not get a trailer for that. Did you guys?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't get a trailer for that.
Hot.
Primo.
Hopefully I mean, the first one was good. I don't know.
Great.
I'm just jaded because everything happened in one movie in the original Dune. And now we're getting different parts, and we're elaborating on certain moments that don't need to be elaborated on to make the movie longer. That's my honest take.
Well,
on it
Dune's
so
based
far.
off a book series.
I know. Yeah, and they don't elaborate any more of the book with the longer parts and movies of the remake.
I felt like they kind of fleshed out the world a little bit better, and it feels more.
Well, they did, but I think
these movies are only doing the first book, correct?
Just like the original movie, pretty much.
Yeah, but then I think they also
there's like 6 books.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think they have like
I've
other
done all the
projects in the
audiobooks.
works too to do the other books too, but I don't know.
That's a full-time job if you ever do that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Are they long?
Or at least some
Oh,
of the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're wordy, and I mean, and these were a lot older audiobooks that I had. They weren't like updated, so I mean, they were just reading it to you. That put your ass to sleep. Put your ass to sleep. I don't know if they have any updated ones.
That book is the reason for some of the greatest shit mankind's ever seen. So whatever. Again, I don't know. I watched the first one and I was like, I don't know. It was cool. I just didn't get too drawn. I think the problem is it's just at the end of the day, I'm just watching. I'm like, fucking Star Wars is better. I'm just like,
it's true.
Even though Star Wars literally just took from it, like that's like where George Lucas got all his inspiration for Star Wars was that.
I love Dune. I remember being a kid playing the old strategy based Dune game on Sega.
Nice.
God.
Yeah. So that's how far my love for Dune goes back. So I guess it could be a shit ass movie, and I'd still be like, fire.
I think my issue with it is just like you just watch the movie and like, you know, it's got all these big time actors in it, and it's like they just get like murdered like right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then like the conclusion is he's just out in the desert, finds Zendaya and her people, and yeah.
Becomes what's the word?
He's about to become the villain of his.
What's the word they call him?
He's gonna die a hero or live long enough to see himself become the villain, aka it's the latter.
I can't remember.
Is that what actually happened?
What do they call him?
Well, from what I've heard, I didn't read the book, so I'm not gonna act like I know that for fact, but that's what I've heard.
Well, it makes sense. Like that's the whole thing of it, right? Is like really, he's supposed to be the rightful ruler of the planet, not this faction that came in and
Muad'Dib. That's what they call him. Muad'Dib. He's the Messiah.
Can't remember what's the
Fremen.
The thing he can do is like what do they call
voice.
It? The voice.
Yeah, and the voice, and basically he becomes the Messiah for the Fremen. Like he's the one that's supposed to free them from whoever's holding.
And like the whole thing
Arrakis.
about the voice is the voice. He can use the voice to influence people to do what he wants.
Yeah, everything pretty much.
But the whole isn't it, if I remember right, but usually only women get it and can do it.
Correct. And Paul's mom went against her wishes and allowed him and taught him in their ways, and they told her not to do it, but she did it anyway.
Right.
And so that's why the whole hand in the box thing, the pain and all that stuff was to see if he can control, see if he can have the self-control to not crumble under pressure and under pain. So that in essence, I mean, there's more to it than that. When you like go back and read the book, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, it's probably explained a lot better.
Yeah, but in the movie, that's the gist of it. It's just see if he's worthy, because that's why she's like, I'll kill you if you react negatively to this or pull your hand out and you can't control yourself. You're gonna die because you can't handle having our gift. So. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I mean, that's why I like the Emperor and like the royalty, like the Purple Guard, like they don't ever really go into that at all. I mean, they fight, but that's it. They go hunt down the Atreides, but there's a lot more to it than that. Yeah, Dune is excellent.
Yeah, very stoked for the next one. Next week, is that the start of Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll have Secret Invasion
When
reviews
is that?
next week. Is it Wednesdays?
Yes.
We'll go with Wednesdays.
Looking at that giant photo there with all the different franchises on it, that reminds me that if you're like myself and watched Beast Wars as a kid, The new Transformers is very pleasing.
Oh, did you go see it?
Yeah, I went and saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see this because it's Maximals, and like literally that's what I grew up watching as a kid.
Same here. I was worried that they would ruin it for me, but hearing you say that, I'll check it out.
Those two Optimuses are
Wednesday.
whooping ass
Yeah.
in the same shot. It's visually pleasing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Maximals. That's true throwback, man. That's like after school. Like,
it is the Terracons, though. Like, the Decepticons are not in this. Yeah. And they don't... Like, there is a mid-credit scene, but that's more just for... Just to confirm that someone's not dead. The end of the movie opens up the... apparently what they're doing, which is...
Oh, is this spoilers?
I mean, I can if you guys aren't going to go see it.
I'm going to see it.
I more care about the watchers,
I'll
the
just
viewers.
say, yeah, the very end is something.
Okay.
Hasbro shared universe is what I'm going to say.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
There's so many possibilities here.
If you go see it, you're going to be like, what the fuck?
So I'll be gone all next week, so I'll have to...
Yeah.
I'll have to see when I can catch that one. But it did really well.
I was like, honestly, like the very end of it, the setup of apparently what they're doing, I was like, what the hell? And I like went and Googled it immediately and was like, what is this? And...
God damn it, I want to know so bad, but I don't want to know. Damn it.
Alrighty, well, I think that wraps up this week.
Yeah,
this
we're
review heavy.
3.5.
Yeah, we didn't even mean to make it take that long. That's
Almost
awesome.
finally made it to the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Or different acts.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in, watching in, however you choose to. If you are watching and would like an audio only, you can find us on Spotify. And vice versa. If you'd like a video, obviously you can come find us on YouTube. We are also on Twitter, official T3P. That's everything, right? Yeah. Comment down below. Yeah. What did you guys think of The Flash? What did you guys think of Across the Spider-Verse? Which one's better? Huh? Let us know. And then maybe throw some ideas in there for comic book runs that me and Kevin should read.
Yeah, for sure.
And just all around. What stuff would you guys like us to talk about? So until next time, I'm your boy, J-Sip.
I'm Sleepy Boy KP.
And this is a Sleepy Bull.
Okay.
And see ya later.
To the window, to the wall. No.